consumed. Adrenaline rush, heartbeats race, the thrill of speed taking place. Defend the lead, it's not a chase. Gran Turismo sets the pace. Under moonlit skies we soar, every pass makes spirits roar. Defending honor never bored.
Welcome to the Nighthawk Racing F1 RST Championship. Firstly, I'm Sarah Hawkey, and you can find myself and the rest of our community here on the Nighthawk Racing YouTube channel. There are various features and playlists for you to watch and enjoy, covering non-championship events, mini-series racing and our main series of F1 RST with seasons 1 through to 4 with full coverage and commentary available to watch. All races also feature great competitive action alongside community and team racing, leaving many smiles as well as thrills and spills. Please also check out our Instagram and TikTok in the description below, or you can use the QR code across the video that will provide you with the link tree, more content and information for you to have a scan through as well. Before we get into the racing itself, here is an outline of the racing and the championship and what to expect in Season 5. So as you can see on screen at the moment, we have a 10 event calendar featuring red and blue lobby racing, and you can see that we go to many different tracks across the season, all tracks presenting themselves with unique characteristics, so it should be a pretty fun season ahead, and I can't wait to see how all the drivers get on. We're talking about the events itself. There are 2 races per event, with a sprint race which will last approximately 20 minutes and then a feature race at 1 hour to 65 minutes respectively. The grid for the sprint race is ordered in reverse average points scored across the season. Up next is the main feature race, which is supported by a 10-minute qualifying session. Qualifying itself is highly important, as not only does it set the outright grid for the feature race, but competitors have to begin their strategic calls in qualifying, as when the driver sets their fastest lap, the compound of tyre they use for that fastest lap then becomes their mandatory tyre compound for the start of the feature race. So as you can see, strategy is important, especially during qualifying. But here in F1 RST, every session is important and also comes with its own rewards. Both racing events come with increasing points for each position gained, as well as the potential of fastest lap points to be earned for those finishing within the top 10. Qualifying itself also rewards the top 3 positions with a little extra dynamic thought and strategy throughout the event and season. So as you can tell, points make prizes. As a reminder for all, sprint races have completely open strategy calls and tyre choices with a rolling start. But the feature race, on top of the qualifying start tyre compound requirement, has a grid start, and all drivers must use 2 different choices of tyre compounds. Right, so while the drivers are qualifying, let's talk about the track. We are driving the Road Atlanta, also known as the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, as some may know it. But I really like this track, so I'm excited to see how everyone gets on. I've raced it before in other series and in other categories as well, so I really do enjoy kind of the different corners. You know, obviously it's they've got some corners which are really tight, but then you've got some that are really kind of fast flowing, so it's a lot to kind of process while you're racing as well. But the Road Atlanta is a real world racetrack located in Georgia in the USA that made its debut in GT7, so you know, only a quite recent track in the recent game. Obviously it wasn't in any previous GT game, so a lot of drivers have had you know, only got to experience Road Atlanta and GT7, but it's a welcome addition, shall we say. But in real life, the most famous race is hosted at Road Atlanta is the Petit Le Mans, a 10-hour race that is usually held as part of the IMSA, the top level endurance racing in the United States. And I've got to say, I've watched it a few times, and it's definitely a lot of fun. But the track itself is 4.808 kilometers, or just over 2.5 miles. And like I say, I think the drivers are going to enjoy this one. But let's get into the sprint race and see how everyone done. Tonight you join us at round 8 of season 5 here at Road Atlanta, and we're going to start off by showing you the sprint race for the Blue Lobby. In pole position we have Super Simon in that BMW M6, then closely followed by Murph in the Supra. Damo is in P3 in the Porsche 911, and then in P4 we have our first Lamborghini of the grid, Dijon Cypher. Then in P5 we have Sparky in the McLaren 650S, and then he's followed by Phil in P6 in that Ferrari 458.
Perfect, and then we have Lyle in P7 in the other 458 with Chaos Druid on the same row in the Lexus P8. Then P9, the other half of the T50 guys, T50 Gary P9 in the GTR. Then P10, the head of Asudu Racing, we have Coach himself in that Supra. Then P11, we have one half of the co-creators of Niot Racing, Sarah Hawkey in the Huracan. And then in P12 we have Red LMR 56 with their first race with us, so in the AMG. And then we have the returning Hassler in the 911 Porsche P13 as well. So Sarah, this is going to be an interesting race here at Road Atlanta. A couple of drivers there that might be wanting to make a break for it off lap 1, but crucially some really fast and entertaining drivers in the midfield as well.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see how Red gets on for his first ever Nighthawk race. I've heard good things about him, and he does a lot of races elsewhere on like iRacing and ACC, so I'm excited to see how he gets on for his first race with us. And apart from that, obviously we all know that some of the drivers here, it's one of their preferred tracks. Road Atlanta is quite an interesting track, quite a fun one when you get it right, so as long as people get it right and don't get in the gravel or the grass, then I think we should be in for a fun race.
Quite right. And like you say, there's a lot of drivers that really enjoy this track. So like yourself for one, we know you had a good result here in season 4, so it's always good to see when you see these drivers enjoy a certain track when we come back to the same track to get on 2 seasons in a row. But that said, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for drivers like Sparky and Phil in this one, because I think they have a lot of potential out there. We're going to see if they can live up to that and do themselves proud. But with that in mind, Sarah, I think we should head off to the track and see how they got on.
We are rolling down the hill for round 8 of the Nighthawk Racing F1 RST Championship Blue Lobby Sprint. Super Simon 69 leads Murph and Damo. As we go through turn 12, we are green at Michelin and a Raceway. Good getaway for everyone. Single file, nice and tidy. Exactly what you want to keep around here for at least the first half of the track. Simon goes way wide at the entry of 1 though. Alongside him now is Murphy in the number 11. The Supra takes the lead. Damo up into 2nd already. Cypher into 3rd. Oh, this has been a dreadful start for Simon, and he's already gone down the order. He's slowing down at this point, just letting everyone through, but the pack is just swarming on the back of him as we go through the dreaded S's. Going through turn 5, someone's off into the gravel. Bar's off in the gravel. Cypher's one of them. Coach Gary is in there as well. Oh dear. Gary's got damage. Coach thankfully got away with none. Druid's got damage to the right front of his car. Oh, what a start this was, Pedro, already.
Yeah, a bit chaotic, I must say. All good until they were going single file, but then afterwards, just this minor incident here, but I'm glad to see them all still being able to get out on track and keep going. Yeah, unfortunately for Simon, missing out on a few positions, but yeah, there's still plenty of laps for him to recover. So let's see what happens in the meantime.
Ooh, Sarah gets into the 66 in turn 8, and they're both off! It's one of the most difficult parts of the track, is you think you can send it on someone, but the whole close is oh so quick, as we've seen so many times in Petit Le Mans. It just comes away from you a lot quicker than you think it can, and I don't think that one was an exception. But lap 1 is completed. Murph in the number 11 Supra has lead ahead of Damo's number 39 Porsche. Someone's got around it at the base of the S's. It's Simon in the BMW. He's gone off. He's hit the wall with the left front. And Gary is slowing down there. He might have had some help there. He does let him through so he can pass him cleanly again, but that's not going to be any good. Meanwhile, I gotta say, quick shout out to Red LMR 56, his first ever F1 RST race in that number 56 Mercedes. He's already moved up to 6th place. Not bad work for him after less than 2 laps of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Going from P12 into P6 just before the end of lap 2. And might still be able to make up a few positions, as I'm seeing the cars in front fighting, especially since the Demo had to serve a penalty on the main straight.
Yep, he had to serve a 1-second time penalty for 2 track limits violations. I believe one was at the S's, if not both of them at the S's. So that's brought him down to 4th place, which allowed Sparky and Phil to get by for the other podium positions. So Damo's got his work cut out for him to get back up there. He's got a little bit more work cut out for him since Lyle in the number 3 Ferrari has been bearing down on him. Going through the S's up the hill again. Not bad work by these guys so far, aside from the lap 1 stack up.
Oh, Cypher! Is it the wall?
And that's at the top of the hill. Rejoins the track and forces the 9 and the 66 to take a little bit of evasive action.
Oh, this picked up a penalty as well in the process.
Yeah, and as I saw that, the 9 went super wide and the 4 almost thought about it. We almost had Lamborghini on Lamborghini violence as he almost spins again.
Oh, I think he lost control of it somehow. Because he was slow coming out the corner. It looked like you had to make a correction there, Cypher.
Well, all that's happened. We have had a change of position for 5th place. It is Red in the 56, ahead of Lyle. He's made that move stick in turns 10A and B, and now sets his sights on Damo. Side by side for 2nd place. Sparky nearly goes off. Has enough wits about him to keep it on the track. I tell you what, turns 1 and 2 have been, at least for me, Pedro, one of the hardest sections of the track possible. And I imagine that with how many laps we're going to be running, not just in the sprint, but in the feature, that's going to bite a lot of people today.
Yeah, it might well be. This one of the most challenging parts of the track. I feel getting this turn 1 right is... it can be pretty tricky, and it's quite finicky in the way that if you just miss your braking point, or if you just start turning in a little bit too late, it could mean that you go off track, lose positions, and or pick up damage. And Red, what a move that was as well. Yeah, nice and tidy by him, and he's now bearing down on Damo, who managed to get back, who of course got back ahead into 3rd place after Sparky's turn 1 mishap. And look at this, he's thinking about it again in turn A. And not this time. Also, real quick, wanted to shout out the driver of the number 51 Porsche, Saber Venom Haslett. He's been away for a bit. He had some things to take care of since his last race here in Nighthawk. He's come back today for his first race of the season, and he's already up to 7th place. And fastest lap, 120.5, basically. So that... it's like he's not even missed a step yet, Pedro. Exactly, yeah, it's really great to have him back. Have a few occasions where I could chat with him a bit more in depth, and he's a lovely guy. Great to see him back on the grid. And yeah, it does seem like he's still just as naturally... he's driving just as naturally as he was before this stop that he had to make. It's looking really good for him so far. Right at the back of Lyle and Sparky fighting for P5.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty tense one as you get the run up to turn 10A, as we see Simon's had a bit of a moment at 10B. But as we see, battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, there it is, intensifies between the 3 and the 12, side by side, Ferrari McLaren, where have we seen this before? Lyle gets ahead of Sparky, all clean through 10B. Except it's not done just yet. The 12 strikes back at the inside of 12. He gets the move done. Now here comes Haslett, the number 51 Porsche. Side by side into turn 1. The Porsche has the move. Lyle's lost 2, but now he's going to try the crossover on the 51. We have yellow flags out in the S's. I think it's for Simon, who's had a moment. And that forces Lyle to think about it and loses the opportunity to take the position back from Haslett.
Yeah, great bit of racing between Lyle and Haslett. Obviously, Lyle giving up the entry of the corner a little bit because he had to make sure that both him and Haslett made it out alive. And yeah, just getting a better traction, accelerating early, and almost getting the move done.
And to tell you what, he might have enough of a... Lyle's now got Coach to worry about, and I think Haslett, if he does this right, he might have the run to get by Sparky for P5. But as I say that, we have a battle for the lead. Phil and Murph side by side at a 10A. The Supra holds the inside line, takes advantage of it, holds on over Phil, exiting turn 10B, through 11, down the hill, side by side is Phil. Murph and Phil side by side at 12. Oh, how on earth! The 44 hole held on to it, I have no idea. They're still side by side down the pit straight, going into turn 1 once again. Murph tries to outbrake him. He catches a little bit of curb, he loses momentum, and Red says, thank you very much, Murph, for P2.
Wow, that was... I still don't know how Phil managed to keep that car pointing the right way. It was mighty impressive, and going for a move up the inside on that final corner is very brave. And Red there to pick up the scraps, and it seems like he, well, fastest lap already. Might be seeing a fight for the lead soon. However, let's pick up a half a second penalty.
Yep, so that battle will have to wait at least another lap or two, as he will have to serve that penalty. We have... Ooh! Someone's just had a moment. It was the 11 car, and he's dropped more spots.
Picking up
and he's
damage,
hit the wall. Yeah, the left front on the 11 was damaged. Thankfully, because it's a sprint, it clears away after a little bit. But obviously not something you want to hit as you get halfway down. And you've got another Supra now bearing down. That's Coach of the 5. He's recovered nicely after his first lap moment at turn 5.
Absolutely, and it looks like he's got much better tires than a few of the drivers directly in front of him as well, which might give him an advantage in the upcoming laps.
Absolutely. And this track, despite its small nature, very, very abrasive because you're working both directions around here. You're working the S's going left and right. Despite this being a counterclockwise track, there seems to be a lot of lefts you got to deal with. Damo trying to hold off Sparky for third, meanwhile. That McLaren's gone right back up to that Porsche. And he's, depending on how he plays it here at 7, he might be able to get a run here. Although I'm not quite so sure he's close enough yet. I say that though, he is right there. Look, he's looking directly at the exhaust of that Porsche RSR. I just don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move unless if he absolutely sends one in here. Oh, hang on a minute. He might. No. Not this time. He'll think about it.
Damo just going to the middle of the track, possibly trying to avoid him going for that move. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult for Damo to defend since the McLaren seems to be the superior car in terms of straight line speed, and especially with Sparky getting the slipstream. If he stays within this gap, could be pretty difficult for Damo to defend.
We've missed Coach overtaking Murph for P5. He now sets his sights on the Porsche and Ferrari ahead of him. Excuse me, McLaren, not Ferrari. They might sound similar now, but that's not a Ferrari. Despite what I tell you, that's not a Ferrari.
Well, since Sparky picked up a penalty, it might help Coach getting closer and closer.
Ooh, you're right. So easy to do that at the S is to pick up yourself a track limits penalty, and that's where I think most of these guys are getting it. But as that's happening, I'm focusing on the lead because I think Red's bearing down on Phil again.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but Haslett just got 2 positions on Murph and Lyle, who seem to go wide at the exits of the corner that leads onto this back straight.
And he's not done with Murph, though. Murph dives it back down the inside to reclaim that 6th place. But Haslett uses momentum to get back by the Supra down through turn 11. And through turn 12, he's got them both cleared. And Red has taken over the lead of the race from Phil. So the number 56 Mercedes in his first sprint race has got the lead.
Yeah, just going up the inside into turn 1, getting the braking nailed perfectly. And up into the lead, and with the fastest lap once again.
A 1:19.9, that might be hard for these guys to beat today. And look at this, Coach is bearing right down on the back of Damo. He's gone ahead of Sparky as a result of his penalty, and beat a man with his crutches right out of Chip Polyphony. Sparky picked up another one. So
yeah,
now the number 5 Supra lines up something on the 39, although not happening this time. I don't think, anyway.
It's so unfortunate as well, because this penalty zone is quite a harsh one, because you're on the back straight, so practically the longest straight we have on this track. You're already at quite a high speed by the time you get there, and you just lose so much speed and momentum there.
Someone else who had a penalty is Haslett. He's fallen down to 8th place from 6th, so he's got to do it all over again on Murph and Lyle with 4 laps remaining. Tell you what, though, I don't think he's going to back out of this one. He's thinking about it. A little bit of a subpar entry into turn 1. Easy to do around here. Lyle flashing the light. Did I just see Lyle flashing the lights? I think Lyle was flashing the lights at Murph to get out of the way, but they're battling for position.
Well, it might have been an easy thing to do when you're a controller. Probably just press the analog stick a little bit too much and it turned on the headlights. But talking about Murph, his front left is very worn. I'm seriously concerned if he's going to be able to make it until the end in a good shape.
Yeah, that tire's probably going to go by about lap 14, so by the last lap, if he doesn't nurse that thing home. I appreciate Murph trying to battle this one, but those tires are not going to make it to the end as he nearly gets into the back of Sparky, who took a very conservative line into 10A. And Lyle, caught on the curbs, which allows Saber Venom to squeeze on in for 7th. Tries the outside through 11 and 12. He's not going to be able to do it. Lyle's now trying to match a counter-strike, but instead hits the back bumper of the 51. The Porsche now down to the inside of the Supra in turn 1 again. The 11 tries to do everything he can to keep that Porsche behind him. But here comes Saber Venom and Lyle.
No!
Oh, when you're racing that close for that long, you just expect something to go wrong. Sadly, it has for both the 3 and the 51. So Murph can breathe a little bit. A little bit. Lyle's going to have to pick up the pace, try getting away from everyone. And Sarah Hockey has moved up to 8th place with that number 9 Lamborghini.
Yeah, Sarah's still recovering from the collision in lap 1. She's been doing a pretty good job staying consistent, avoiding the penalties, and might be looking at picking up a few positions. You never know.
That's about all you can do around Road Atlanta. Just mind your business. Don't pick up too many penalties. Just log the laps. As we see Saber Venom and Druid battling for 9th. That Lexus has a little bit of an edge on the Porsche in a straight line, but I'm not sure if Druid's going to be able to match him on the brakes. A little bit of door rubbing. But Saber Venom stays ahead. Sarah's in the wall! The commentator's curse striked again, Pedro.
Oh, goodness.
And now she falls down to 11th. Gary moves up to P10.
It seems like she touched the grass with the left-hand side wheels there, and picking up the throttle, the car just, she just lost the back end of the car, unfortunately.
know something? Red's not quite lost Phil the way I thought he was going to.
I was about
That
to mention
Ferrari
that.
is still on the back of that Mercedes. Where have we seen this before?
I think the gap just narrowed more and more as the laps went.
Well, the last lap, Phil set a one faster by a tenth, and now he's trying to bear down on the rear bumper of that Mercedes. Oh, but he had such a bad run through 10B compared to the 56, and that compromises you so much going down the hill. They take the white flag, so this will be the last lap. And that cost Phil, I'd say, more than the 3/10. That was the difference in the lap time there. Behind these guys, it's kind of spread out with all the chaos and shenanigans. So that gives us a little less work to do, Pedro, on this last lap. More the merrier, as it seems Phil has not backed down. Down the roof turns 6 and 7 for the final time in the sprint. You don't want to spin the tires out. You want to get a good run through here. Down the back straightaway. Through 8. At 9 is the sector split. Right here. I don't think Phil's going to have enough room to make this one work. I think the Mercedes has just enough. He's going to try it, though. Not enough. Red's just laid enough on the brakes to keep that 44 at bay. So we go through turn 11 for the final time. In his first ever sprint race, Red LMR 56 wins at Road Atlanta. Not a bad way to start the weekend, or your Nighthawk racing career. Coach, with an unbelievable recovery drive to finish P3, Damo will hold on to P4, that 39, ahead of Sparky in the McLaren. Not a Ferrari. Speaking of Ferraris, though, Lyle's up to 6th place. They've gone ahead of Murph, and the number 3 will finish 6th, Murph 7th, Druid in 8th, Gary in 9th, Saber Venom battling it out with Hockey, and the grass he goes, he holds on 10th. No! He lost it!
Oh! Unbelievable!
Did he get a penalty?
I'm not sure, but he might have. I don't know. It was pretty weird in the way that race unfolded, because obviously he went on the grass. I'm wondering if Sarah got just enough ahead. No, it seems like he might have picked up a penalty because he was ahead of Sarah at that point.
Cypher finishes 12th, and Simon finishes 13th after starting on pole in the sprint. Road Atlanta doesn't fail to bring everything at you, doesn't it?
Yeah, so much action throughout the course of this race was... Wow, that was phenomenal to watch. I mean, what a way to... to make your debut in Nighthawk Racing, going from P12 onto a sprint win for Red. Yeah, Murphy did hold on in the end, was pretty good for him as well. But Coach, going from that incident in lap 1 onto a very solid podium finish, there are so many standouts in this race.
I will mention we do have a post-race stewarding decision. The number 9, Sarah Hockey, has been penalized 10 seconds. So that drops her down to P12. So Haslett does get P10 in the end after all. Tell you what though, if the sprint was anything to go by, I think the feature is going to be a lot more chaotic, don't you think, Pedro?
Oh, definitely. I'm already looking forward to it. Seems like it gave us quite a good taster of what's to come, hopefully.
You know what? Sitting here in the commentary booth, I'm seeing my team roll out by Lexus. So tell you what, I'll meet you back here for the blue feature, unless if we find each other on the track in the red sprint.
Good.
And here we are with Season 5, Round 8, Red Lobby for Sprint Race Grid. So, Iceman, P1 in that Genesis. Swiftly followed up by Joe Nisbet in that Ford GT for P2. Sitterly in P3 with that Lexus. And then Giles or Giggles in P4 in that Huracan. Then we have McManley in P5 in that lead Ferrari, with the next one being Nigel Mansell's Ferrari, also P6. Then Big Crazy Bertie in P7 in that McLaren 650S, swiftly followed up by Kirk in that Genesis X.
And then in P9 we have Mercedes in the GTR. Still very confusing to say that. But in P10 we then have Pedro in the Lamborghini Huracan, followed by Charlie in P11 in the BMW M6. Closely followed by Midnight in P12 with that McLaren 650S. And sporting a little bit of a new livery, we have Fodder in the Porsche 911 in P13. And then just behind Fodder, we have the Dark Lord GT in P14, our Season 4 champion in that McLaren 650S. And rounding off the sprint race for round 8, we have Katie Lakai, our Season 3 champion in that Nissan GTR. So the champion starting on the back row, Midnight. That sets us up for quite a fun race.
You're not kidding, and those are kind of the guys that are the least ones you want behind you as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting watching them come through the grid if anyone's going to get out of their way. But this is a competitive race and competitive lobby. I don't imagine anyone's going to make life too easy for them. With that said though, Red Atlanta, it's a tricky track to follow, particularly in that first sector. So we're going to see what they get up to in this sprint race. Rolling start, of course, but we're definitely going to see some drivers trying to make a break for it. And it's going to be, if they can get the car with that fairly high tyre wear around here, particularly on the soft tyres. If anyone's going to go for the soft tyres, see if they can make it all the way to the end of the sprint race and try and make that break. But with that said, so there's going to be a couple of drivers there that we're going to have to keep an eye on. For me, I'm going to be watching McManley. He's nearly always devastating in these sprint races. What about you? Any thoughts?
Oh, I've got to agree with Max. A good shout, obviously starting in P5 again. So that's quite a good starting position for him. I think obviously the Fasuti boys of Iceman and Sitterly could do quite well, starting in P1 and 3 respectively. And they've got a good friend of theirs, Nisbet, kind of sandwiched in between the two. So if those three can get away nice and clean, hopefully they'll be in for a good race. But we all know how Giles races, so he might, try and go for a few early moves, try and get onto the podium. But interesting to see how Bertie gets on. He seems to be quite a resident Red Lobby driver now, and he's been doing really well throughout the season so far. So yeah, I think anyone could do good here as long as they keep it clean, as long as they keep their cars on the track and not in that grass or gravel.
Quite right, and Red Atlanta's a tricky one to do that with, because although it's wide in some places, it gets very narrow, particularly in that final chicane, turns 10, A and B. So it's going to be very interesting to see what action and what shenanigans these drivers get up to, because we all know it, Road Atlanta, there's going to be some paint swapping around here. It's almost like the law. But with that in mind, I think it's time to get into the race, see what happens, and leave it to the drivers. And here we are for the Red Lobby here at Road Atlanta for round 8 in the F1 RST Championship. Iceman leads the grid away, followed by Joe as we get going for the sprint race. Genesis looking good, currently in P1, followed by the Ford GT of Joe, and then Sicily in P3. Giles in P4. Looks like we've got them all drivers just following each other into turn 1, although Kirk looks like he's going for a move on Bertie. Little bit of contact. Bertie should be able to hold it into the next set of corners, into the S's, and does so, but Kurt looks like he's going to be wanting to get a move on straight away. So Iceman still leading the pack, all drivers on medium tyres. Mac looks like he is going side by side with the Italian Huracan, so the Italian Dream Team having a little fight there. Mac up to P4, Giles coming back at him into the right-hander. Don't think's better of it, but Mac now is on inside Sicily. And Sicily runs wide onto the grass. He's going to drop a bunch of positions and have very dirty tyres. Looks like he's staying off the track completely, Sarah.
Yeah, it did look a little bit of an interesting move there with Sicily. Yeah, unfortunately that does drop him right back to the back of the pack, 15th. Not too far away from everybody, so I'm sure he can catch up. But everyone looking like they're going to go double file into this chicane here. Got Midnight going for a move with Fodder and Charlie. Oh, Charlie and Nigel going wide, hitting some grass, causing a little bit of chaos as we go into the downhill section of the final corner. We've got 3 cars going 3 wide round here. Oh, Dark Lord managing to go the inside line, maybe forcing Nigel and Fodder a little bit out wide, but he gets the move done, and it looks like he's going to try and go for a move on Mac and Midnight here too.
Yeah, well, that was all kicked off with Nigel, Giles and Mac all trying to go side by side into the final chicane. It didn't work, funny enough, and you do see some drivers who have dropped right down, like Mac, who's dropped down from 3rd to 10th in the space of about 3 corners, but Mac looking like he wants to get back on the move again. But out front, Iceman still leading away. Kirk up to P3 from absolutely nowhere. Joe in that 4GT in P2. And with Mercedes now up to P4. Where did he come from as well? He was at the back of the grid. Bertie P5, Pedro P6. Looks like he's kept his nose clean. He's going to be happy about that. Always has a little bit of bad luck in sprint races. Giles getting sideways out the double right-hander. And now we have 4 side-by-side, including the championship leader, Katie the Kai, in, I think, 11th place at this time. So, well, where do we go, Sarah?
Yeah, it looks like Katie the Kai was giving yourself Midnight a little bit of a bump there going into the chicane here. It looks like Max on the inside line. Katie the Kai getting that move done and dusted, following Midnight. We've got Fodder potentially going for a move here on Mac as well. And like I said, the rest of the grid is pretty much all within close proximity to each other. Bertie doing an amazing job so far in that P5, holding likes of Pedro back a little bit at the moment, but Charlie looks like he's ready to pounce as well.
Yeah, Mac is going to be seething. He was P3, now he's P12. Giles in the wall, Sarah.
Yeah, big collision for Giles there. It's easy to do around this turn 1, especially at Road Atlanta, because as soon as you're on the grass, it will take you, and it will take you face first into that tyre wall. So unfortunately, Giles facing the tyre wall, picking up some damage, but hopefully he can get that Lamborghini going again and catch the pack. Talking about catching the pack, City looks like he's catching the back of Nigel very quickly, which is good to see. We've got McManley going for a move on Fodder here. These two are adjusting for position for quite a while.
Yeah, and up the front we do see a 3-way fight for P2. Joe looks like he's about to fall victim to the Kirk. Mercedes watching very close behind. Joe goes defensive into 10A. This is going to put the genesis of Kirk, who gets the racing line. Yeah, racing line was definitely the way to go there. Kirk sweeps through, take P2. Now, Mercedes in that GTR is going to be on the back of the Ford GT, followed by Bertie, who is running really well in P5, like you say, and Pedro in P6. So, currently, Dark Lord with a fast lap in a 19A. But I think we're only just winding up at this point, so.
Yeah, it's that the start of the sprint race is always chaotic. Best way to put it, as we see Fodder going very wide, hitting the grass, managing to get that Porsche back onto the road, but obviously those tyres will be very dirty, very muddy indeed. But that drops him just in front of Sicily here. Not what the P2 championship fight between Fodder and Midnight, probably what he wanted, but I'm sure he can pick up some more points and positions before the end of the race. But yeah, like you say, Bertie is a little bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment. He's got the likes of Pedro, Joe, Charlie and Dark Lord coming through, so we're going to hopefully see some very defensive driving from Bertie. But it's the Genesis versus the Genesis for that P1 at the moment, Midnight.
Absolutely is. Mercedes got past Joe into turn 1, and then Joe got swallowed by the pack. This looks like Kirk, who is on the move, this time on the inside, takes P1 off Iceman. Well, good set of moves. It doesn't matter what side Kirk is going to pass you on. He'll take either side and go for it, it would seem, at this rate. Now, Mercedes on the back of Iceman. That looks like that is going to be a move down into turn 1. If we stay with it, there we go. Late on the brakes, but Iceman just keeps that speed up. And then looks like he is going to retain it into the next section. Bertie round.
Yeah, it looks like Bertie just caught a little bit of the grass there, unsettling that Mclaren and facing the wrong way. But he lets everyone pass before he rejoins the track. Very unfortunate for Bertie there, he was running quite high.
Ooh, Dark Lord right in the middle of some action as per normal, right on the back of Joe, sideways. both cars running very, very wide. They're going to have to be careful not to pick up any penalty there. But that's going to put Katie the Kai on the back of Dartlord. And Dartlord picking up a half a second penalty. Mac making moves. He's not one to shy away from it, Sarah, is he? And he takes one off Kai.
Yeah, like you said earlier, he's eager to get back as high as a position as possible after that little mistake that we saw a little while ago. And he's definitely not waiting around.
And for P2, the battle still goes. Which way Mercedes go? Dives inside, no, thinks about it, but that is bringing Pedro with him. And he has form around here. He almost made up the win last season. Ooh, Mac and Kai still going at it.
Oh no! Midnight and Darklord, a little bit of wheel banging that forced Midnight into the grand. That was the grand was sand and grass mixed together. That's a new word. But yeah, unfortunately, Midnight going wide, losing quite a few positions, and that drops him behind Fodder.
Well, unfortunately,
and we see someone else going off onto the grass as well. Darklord. Oh! That was almost like a WWE takedown. He came back onto the track and accidentally took out Joe.
Well, Joe won't be particularly happy with that one, but unfortunately, that be an unsafe rejoin, Sarah, or will that be just a incident because of the off-track action? Who knows at this point? But it looks like this race is creating more victims than anything at the moment. But out the front, Kirk is disappearing. Iceman looks like he is that proverbial cork in the bottle, but now he has Mercedes alongside him. Pedro has a choice of either going free side or giving one of them a bump draft. And it looks like that Mercedes, that GTR, didn't have enough power to get past the Genesis there. But on the brakes, Mercedes does it.
Very late on the brakes.
No cutback from Iceman. Iceman down to P3. Pedro, that's opportunistic. There, Pedro.
Yeah, I guess obviously high risk, high reward there for Pedro, managing to get that move done and dusted and cleanly.
Yeah, and Charlie, who has been a little bit quiet in this one, he's made the moves when he's needed to. He's up to P5 and on the back of Iceman as Pedro has got that move completed. Where did Charlie come from?
Yeah, he's just been waiting his time nice and patiently. He's not been involved in any of the incidents that we've seen so far, so sometimes that's just what you need to do. Just, wait your time, see what happens in front of you, and get those positions when you can.
Ooh, Kirk, he's feeling the pressure. Half a second penalty. That is going to drop him maybe behind Mercedes. Mercedes is super close. That's going to give Pedro a sniff at this one as well. The top four look like spacing out a little bit now. Iceman falling back to P5, Mac in B6, Nigel in P7. Another one who has gotten through this chaos despite that incident early on into the chicane. Kirk serves his penalty. Mercedes will go alongside Sarah. Takes P1.
Yeah, I thought Kirk might try and be super defensive there, but no, he lets Mercedes through, gives him loads of room. He knows that obviously there's about half the race left to go. He can fight for this P1 again. No point getting yourself involved in an incident. You can fight another day. It's just about accepting the penalty, letting it burn away, and then obviously trying again. But those two up front are super close, and like you say, Pedro will be sniffing to see if those two make any sort of mistakes.
Our championship leader Kai in P10 at the moment. I think he just spent a penalty and dropped back even further. He was dicing with Mac in P6 a minute ago, now in P10. So that's, I think Kai is he's got enough buffer in the championship to not be worried at this point with 2 rounds to go after this, but he's going to be wanting a decent result here, isn't he? He always tends to side through the pack quite efficiently. Road Atlanta not treating him that well this far.
No, but like you say, obviously comparing the GTR, it doesn't look like the GTR is the best well-suited car around here. Maybe it doesn't like the different undulations of the track, so maybe we found that Nissan GTR's weak point, and it is Road Atlanta. But I'm sure Katie the Kai will cook up a good strategy in the future race, and we'll see him back on that podium for sure.
Well, you have a point, Sarah. The counterpoint is Mercedes in the GTR is leading the race, but it can simply come down to taking those opportunities, and Mercedes has done exactly that. Sometimes you don't need the best car, but either way, keep an eye on Kai. He will be moving forwards. Mac is now on the back of Iceman. into turn 1. Surely not there, Mac. You can put the guy under pressure, but passing into that corner, that is robust, but fair. Good driving.
Yeah, you can tell that unsettled the Genesis a little bit of a snap at the rear. Maybe putting off Iceman's momentum a little bit, which allows Nigel to have a little peek and see if he can make a move. And he goes onto that outside line, trying to set himself up nicely for the next corner. But Fodder is just behind these two. They're going to go free. Oh, look like they're going to go free wide into this corner here. But Nigel makes a sneaky. Fodder makes a sneaky move on Nigel, and so does Midnight. Midnight sees that door open. He's going for it. He's trying to overtake Nigel, but like you say, obviously Katie Dekai very close. He's on seeing all of this. He's potentially helping Nigel by giving him a little bit of a push, leaving his good friend Midnight behind. I'm sure Midnight will have to tuck in behind Katie Dekai, which he does. Those form a little bit of a train. But if we go back up to Fodder, he's potentially eyeing up a move here at this chicane. He's a little bit further back this time, but I'm sure he'll be sniffing at that P6 very shortly. Very opportunistic, like Pedro, going onto the inside into the final corner and gets that move done and dusted.
Yeah, I think that was very clever from Kai.
Oh, we've had a big spin from Nigel coming over the hill, potentially obviously battling with Katie Dekai and Midnight. May have unsettled that Ferrari, and that drops him into P12.
Can happen. It can so easily happen when you're on the ragged edge and the back end snaps. It just goes. But I think that was very clever from Kai, who
got a yellow flag.
Go for
Iceman! Oh no, Iceman! He was doing so well. Unfortunately, another casualty of that turn 1 at Road Atlanta. Iceman going off onto the grass.
Yeah.
And that drops into P15, unfortunately.
Oh, considering he was right up front in the race, he won't be happy about that. But that is the way sometimes the sprint race goes. He was under pressure, in amongst the pack, and it's so easy just to drop a wheel onto the grass. Out front, Sarah. This pack of 3, pack of 4. Wow.
It looks like Charlie has dropped back a little bit from this fight, but he's not too far away yet. He can still kind of place that BMW in the right position if the top 3 make a mistake. But I tell you what, in those last few laps, Pedro has got a lot closer.
He certainly has, and just eyeballing it, it does look like the Genesis is starting to suffer a little bit with front tyre wear, but the Hurricane itself has rear tyre wear, but it's not really a rear limited circuit, Sarah. It does look like Pedro is exploiting that, particularly through some of these fast corners, where he can sort of hit the apex a little bit more often than the Genesis of Kirk. But that said, as we both know, that Genesis is very quick in a straight line. It makes it very difficult to pass, especially if he's picking up a slipstream from Mercedes.
Yeah, like what you say, obviously comparing the two cars, the Genesis has obviously got a little bit more top-end speed down the straights, but what the Genesis lacks is that little bit of a pointy front, like the Lamborghini. Obviously, driving the Lamborghini myself, you can point the car where you want it to be. Most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, not always, but Pedro's shown that you can do it round here, and I think obviously that will benefit him in that fight for that P2 at the moment. But like you say, that Genesis, when you've got it in a straight line, it's very hard to pass.
Kai serving a half-second penalty. Will that lose him a position? I don't think so. I think he's just covering the inside. Yeah, good driving from Kai. Very, very solid defensively and offensively, but that is our Kai. But the reigning champion of Dartlord, not having the best of races series. We saw him off in the grass earlier on. P10. It's not particularly great for any sort of resemblance of a title defence, but we know he'll be back stronger, as he always is.
Yeah, unfortunately, obviously not being able to do as many rounds as what he hoped, but like I say, obviously the rounds that he does do, he still shows up, and he still I'd say he drives like a champion. Obviously maybe having a little bit more difficult of a time around the Road Atlanta at the moment, but we've seen snippets of his champion driving throughout the season, and like you say, I'm sure he'll be back towards the ending rounds and potentially for our new season, ready to fight for that championship again.
Quite right, and he's always be someone to fear in the feature race, as we will have up after this as well. But Sarah, 2 laps to go. Mercedes looks like he's made enough of a gap to break the slipstream from Kirk, which is going to leave him vulnerable to Pedro. But Charlie, he's known as a very aggressive driver when it comes to the overtakes. He hasn't really had a sniff of the overtake yet. But you can see the back of that Genesis and Huracan squiggling around under acceleration. These guys are trying so hard on the nose to tail.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, obviously, especially this fight between the Genesis and the Lamborghini, if anything goes wrong, Charlie will definitely take full advantage of that. Maybe that's why he's holding back a little bit, potentially, creating a bit of a gap between himself and Pedro. Obviously, he doesn't want to kind of get on the bump. Oh, Pedro dips the wheel on the grass there, sends a little bit of dirt into Charlie, but that might, the two in front of Charlie going off a little bit, might have ruined their momentum going uphill a little bit. But yeah, like I say, obviously Charlie, I think he's just biding his time. He's thinking a little bit smarter here. He doesn't want to go for the the full out aggression, maybe potentially ruin the cars in front of him. He just wants to bide his time and get it done nice and cleanly.
You're quite right, but they're all running out of time now. This is 1 lap to go. I think Kirk has actually closed in on Mercedes. Mercedes losing a little bit of time on the last lap. He's definitely back to a slipstream area. Would that be enough to make a go at it? What did you spot?
I think it was a visual glitch. It looked like Pedro nearly slammed into the back of Kirk there, unfortunately. But I think that's just Pedro having a little bit of what do you call it?
I think you're probably right on that one. Can happen. But 1 lap to
He
go.
went flying.
Yeah, final lap to go. It does look like Iceman is still circulating in P15 and Giles in P14, with those two drivers having incidents quite early on. But we do see a battle for P13 between Joe and Giles, so we'll see how that comes to fruition with the final lap to go. Mercedes looks like he has now got a big enough gap to hold off the drivers behind. Kirk P2, Pedro P3, Charlie P4. They have been like this for about 6 or 7 laps, Sarah.
They have, and it's good to to see them all following each other quite closely. And for the majority of it, having only maybe small mistakes here and there, it bodes well going into the feature race, especially. I was having a look. Unfortunately, Joe had a little bit of a misfortune at turn 1, and that does let Giles through into that P13 position. But yeah, like you say, obviously coming through the final chicane now, joining Mercedes in the lead. Once he got in that lead, there was no stopping him.
It clearly seems to be that way as he takes the checker flag for the sprint win. That adds to his tally from earlier in the season. Kirk, Pedro and Charlie P2, 3, 4. Mac recovering to 5th. Great drive there from him. Fodder P6. Kai P7, Sarah. That's a great drive from so many of the drivers.
Yep, and then we've got Midnight in P8. Dark Lord crossing the line. Oh, spinning round in P9. Sitterly in P10. Then we've got that close battle between Sitterly and Nigel. Nigel in P11. Bertie P12. Giles coming home in 13th, with a McLaren of Dark Lord coming back on track. Joe in 14th, and then Iceman coming around the final corner in 15th.
Well, that was harum scarum, Sarah. There was a lot going on, and weirdly enough, not much in relation to the top 4 for the last 4 or 5 laps. Kind of a little bit of status quo going on there, but great driving nonetheless. They could all be quite close together with little to no contact. But we did see incidents pretty much from all the rest of the field there. Even Fodder, Mac, and Nigel, Dark Lord, even Guy, and most of the rest of the other drivers involved in incidents, keeping them off the back of the podium group, as it were.
Yeah, and it's always good to see different people battling and maybe slightly out of positions where they normally are. But I think Road Atlanta, it always brings great racing. Obviously, we visited here last season as well. It seems to be one of the favourites to come back to. And I think that's just because it keeps the pack close. And I think we saw that in the sprint race again here. Obviously, sometimes when you do get involved in a little bit of off-track excursion or accidents, it does drop you back a little bit further. But for the majority, if you keep it on track, the racing action is always close. And we saw that again here.
Quite right. And looking at the results, the stewards have seen fit to hand Dark Lord a 5-second penalty. So he drops from 9th to 11th. Giles also received a 2-second penalty for an infraction. but otherwise no position changes there. Fodder did take the fastest lap, considering he was in a little bit of no man's land for most of that. And I think he did very well to get that in the 911. But Sarah, Mercedes taking that win, he's going to be very happy with himself.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He always likes picking up a win here and there, and let's see if he can replicate that in the future race. But yeah, as soon as he got kind of had that Genesis, he didn't look back and he kept his foot all the way down, and he managed to obviously cross the line in P1 and add another win to his tally.
Yeah, he's going to be very, very happy with that. The season's been a bit up and down for him, starting in at Barcelona being very down, sadly for him, but the rest of the season has gone a lot better for him, so he is going to be happy with himself. But Kirk also taking a Red Lobby podium, a very strong podium too. He can only be happy. And Pedro rounding up podium with that P3, closely followed by Charlie, which is, if those that remember the previous season, is the opposite way round. Those two finished in the previous sprint, although that was fighting for the win. So I know we'll call that a victory for Pedro on that one. But otherwise, Sarah, just a quick note on the tyre situation. It was good to see all of the drivers not particularly struggling with the medium tyres, all drivers going for the same tyre. But we did see some variation, some front tyres wearing, some rear tyres wearing. It does set us up, interestingly, for some strategic options in the feature race.
It does. Normally we see obviously people going for slightly different tyres in the sprint race, so it's good to see everyone kind of on equal playing ground with the mediums. But like I say, obviously some cars, especially obviously the FRs or the MRs, they drive slightly differently, and that obviously promotes slightly different tyre wear. So it'd be interesting to see what tyres people decide to start on and obviously that incorporate in their strategies. So I'm excited.
Me and you both. With that in mind, I think we should hand over to the Blue Lobby team, who will have the Blue Lobby lining up for the feature race, and we'll be back for the Red Lobby feature race in a moment. And here we are with the qualifying results for Blue Lobby Season 5, Round 8. So T50 Phil taking pole position in a 1 minute 19.6. Absolutely electric time from him in that 458. Then Red LMR 56 with a P2 in a 1 minute 19.8, barely 1.5 tenths down, so that's going to be close at the front. Then we have our first of our soft tyre runners, Degen Cypher in that Huracan with 1 minute 19.8, only a few hundredths behind. Then in P4 we have Lyle in the other Ferrari with soft tyres of 1 minute 20.0. Then in P5 we have Coach himself back to the medium tyres in 1 minute 20.1. Then in P6 we have Damo in that 911 on soft tyres 1 minute 20.1, also just a few thousandths behind Coach. Then P7, 7 thousandths behind, and the medium tyres we have our very own Sarah Hawkey in that Huracan.
Yep, and then hot on my tails was T50 Gary in P8 on the mediums with a 120.2. And then in P9 we then have Chaos Druid also on the mediums with a 120.3, so only a tenth and a bit separated those two. In P10 we then have Haslett on the mediums with a 120.3, and then again on the softs we have Murph with a 120.7 in P11. In P12 we have Sparky also on the mediums with a 121.4, and then rounding off the grid for the feature race we have Super Simon on the mediums with 123.3.
Well, so that's going to be an interesting grid. Any thoughts to take away from that qualifying session?
Obviously it's quite a compact track at some points. Obviously that first section you don't want to get kind of caught behind any cars, because it does hamper your lap time quite a bit. So I think obviously some drivers may have got caught out from that, but I think all in all, I think not much has separated the whole entire grid by the looks of it, only a couple of seconds. So it looked like it was a pretty interesting qualifying session, to say the least. Obviously sets us up for a good feature race. Obviously I think Phil should be very proud of himself getting on pole position, and as Red as well, obviously his first qualifying session with us, obviously getting used to the settings and stuff like that. So to come in and set a P2, I'm sure he'll be very happy about himself. But let's see if he can take the top spot on the podium.
Quite right. I think Red's got a lot to look forward to in this one. He's got to get past T50 Phil first, and we do have other drivers in there, such as Dijon Cypher, who's shown a lot of speed in previous races and even taken a sprint win. So at the end of the day, we have to be looking forwards and around them and behind them. It's a difficult track to do that, particularly with the track layout here through those S's. It's hard to follow, but if someone does, they're going to be looking for a move down to that hairpin, and there's that long back straight as well. So lots for people to worry about and have a little think over with their strategy. With that in mind, I'm going to say keep an eye out for a few of the drivers in there. I'm going to say Coach actually in this one. He's due a good result, so we'll see what happens with him. But that said, final thoughts, Sarah?
I agree with your thing about Coach. Obviously, I had quite a good battle with him last time we visited Road Atlanta, so maybe, you know, watch out for me and him having another battle, hopefully. But I think all in all, should be an interesting race. And again, obviously, we're going to be racing into the night, so let's see how beautiful those cars look at night.
Quite right, and they do look good round here. So, with that in mind, let's head over to the racetrack and see how they get on.
The lights are coming out. Round 8. Blue Lobby feature race at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. It's time to bring the action. Bill on pole, but he gets a dreadful start versus Red, who shoots to the lead in that red Mercedes-Benz. Going up to turn 1, it's not as clean as it was this last time in the sprint. Side by side through here for quite a few rows. Coach tries holding off Damo for 6th place. They get into single file by the time they get to the S. Is probably the smart move there. It's very easy to get a little too close to someone and have a massive accident. Red holds on over Phil. Lyle ahead of Hockey in 4th. Cypher in 5th. Then it's Coach, Damo, Gary, Murph, Sparky. Well, I say that. Haslett's gone ahead of Sparky for 10th. Side by side through turn 5 for quite a few guys. Coach trying to move on Cypher. He's looking again, and then he gets spun around by Damo.
No.
Created a massive concertina. Big crash that's Gary that goes around. Big damage for Haslett. Also damage for, surprisingly not the 39, but damage for Gary. And front end damage for Sparky. Oh, absolutely dreadful stuff for some of these guys in turn 7.
Yeah, it was a bit of a kerfuffle there. It's obviously, I think Damo just went a little bit too eager into that corner. Unfortunately, Coach spinning around as well. He's been a bit unlucky recently, if I'm honest. But yeah, luckily he didn't get any damage though. But yeah, lots of issues due to that incident. Sparky also picked up a penalty in the meantime.
Yeah, not exactly something you want to be doing with damage, because now the front end of that car is going to be weighted down a little. I feel bad for Haslett in the 51. He's got front and rear damage, so that car is not going to be handling well whatsoever in a car that's already temperamental.
Yeah, I think he was the person who ended up having the most hit out of that situation, and it's really unfortunate just because of the way he was placed on track. I mean, there's still plenty of laps to go. Maybe he might have to readjust his strategy, but I think he can still make it work.
Tell you what though, someone else who got lucky I think was Druid, because I think he was also in the middle of the...
Sarah up to P3.
Yep, but Cypher's gone off. Cypher's gone off in turns 10A and B, so he drops down to 5th.
Oh!
And look, you're still seeing that battle for 3rd, aren't you?
Yeah.
Sarah holding on to that 3rd place. Lyle almost got into the back of that Huracan.
I must say, a brilliant move from Sarah onto the chicane. Just getting it done nice and easily on the brakes, going up to the inside and completing the move cleanly. Considering she started, I think it was P7? No, P8 actually. Wait.
Tell you what.
It's P7.
Well, while you were watching that, Sparky copped himself another half-second penalty trying to get around Saber Venom for 9th. He was all over the grass in that McLaren, trying to make something happen in the S's. That's not a place you want to try making a move, by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to imagine seeing two cars being that close together at that section of the track.
I mean, we saw what happened with Hassler and Lyle in the sprint race when they were having at it closer to when they were getting into the S's.
Yeah.
It's not a place you want to be side by side because of its tight nature. Oh, Sparky tried to send one on Gary into 10A. He has to relinquish the position and in the process loses one to Damo, so he falls back to 12th. Goodness gracious.
Really
I know
doesn't
this
seem
is
to
around
be going
Atlanta.
Sparky's way, unfortunately, at the moment.
No, it's not been an easy start to the race as we see Damo and Gary go off on. Oh, and Damo has a massive impact with the tires. And that's big damage for the 39. Gary went off, but he didn't hit anything. So lucky him, not so lucky Damo. And that Porsche is very, very wounded.
Yeah, I'd probably start considering getting into the pits. Especially because with that rear end damage, it might become quite unstable through a lot of these sections of the track. I know there seems to be a lot of drivers who have picked up damage. I'm curious to see whether they'll try to keep going or if they'll actually just try to readjust their strategy.
Well, that window of cars with damage is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So 9th on back, they've all got damage. The last of the cars without damage right now is Coates and the number 5 Supra. So, yeah, you really got to figure out what you want to do now. Of course, the pit entry here, not the easiest to hit.
Yeah, it's really easy to pick up a penalty because of the way the pit lane entry is set, but also, just as you're about to enter the pit lane, you can hit that wall, possibly picking up any extra damage in the process, which is really not what you'd be looking for. Pit exit as well, must be said, is not the easiest to manage as well, especially if there are cars approaching turn 1.
Because when you're going out of the pit lane, that's basically blind. That's going up another hill. So you just have to be mindful. Stay to the right all the way, unless you are absolutely certain you're clear. And even then, being absolutely certain might not be enough.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially seeing as it can kind of interfere with the racing line for the initial stage there, for the person who's leaving the pits, which, yeah, as you said, you must really be mindful of it as they're going through.
The battle for 5th is starting to heat up between Cypher and Murph. You noted Murph in the sprint race being very harsh on his left front tire, and I'm not seeing anything different this time as he chases down the number 4 Lamborghini.
Yeah, so I was having a look at the data we have, and it seems like his tires, out of all the soft runners, seem to be the ones that are the most worn, which, yeah, it might complicate the way he'll think about his strategy further along the race. But as long as he's making the most out of the tires, as he still has them in relatively good shape, that's sort of the ideal scenario at the moment.
But you know what? I think that tire is starting to catch up to Murph.
Yeah,
because he's starting to struggle through the corners.
Yeah.
And Drew is catching up to him in that 66 Lexus.
Yeah, so I think Murph will probably want to react quickly to this situation before he ends up losing any positions, or any more positions as a consequence of this.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm pinned now because, well, too late for that. I'm not sure if that tire's going to go one more. He might be courting it by the time he gets to turn 10.
Yeah, it's probably going to be very difficult. We'll really have to try and do a little bit of management throughout this lap at least. Yeah, I probably agree with you in the sense that I probably would have taken the opportunity to pit as well, seeing as his previous lap was almost 1 second slower than well, so lap 6 was almost a second slower than his 5th lap.
Yeah, that Lexus bearing down on him a lot quicker. As we see, someone has come in. It's
Well,
Damo,
Damo.
who started on soft, had damage in turn 1. So that's where. So that's his damage settled, and that's his tire dilemma settled for now. But now going down the back straightaway, will we see Druid make a move here? He's sizing up that Supra.
Yeah, he's definitely lining it up. I'm not sure
He's
that Super is very quick on the straights, but let's see.
Murph later on the brakes there. Oh, no, that's going to compromise his momentum through turn B, through 10B, but I don't think that's going to matter. He might. No, he's going to stay out one more. Oh, he's definitely. Oh, someone's gone around. Damo out of the pit lane's already spun in the S's. A little bit of an aside, and now he's in the way of Phil, and he's gone around. Well, not quite, but oh, that was bad. Oh, that was bad.
Oof, could have even been a lot worse, but yeah, that was a bit of a that was a bit of an awkward one, as we were discussing. Obviously, I mean, not directly at the pit exit, but still, if you make a mistake there, and seeing as the other drivers were approaching, it put everyone in a bit of a difficult position. Also, in the meantime, I think Druid overtook Murph.
Yep, he did overtake Murph, and now Coach is going down the inside of the 11. He doesn't complete the move, but I think he'll have to anyway, because oh, it's gone. The left front's gone on that car. There is no Michelin pilot left in that left front. There is no pilot. The pilot has bailed. And now that Supra has 3 tires. Coach lining up the move on the inside into 10A. Murph's still trying to fight it, but he's got nothing left to fight it with. Murph, you gotta come in this time, buddy. There we go.
He does. Ooh, I'm not
that
sure
might
if he's
be
gonna
close
pick
on a
up a
pit entry
penalty.
line. Yeah, that was close. Oh, and he's just hit the wall for good measure. No damage, at least, though. But yeah, the 11 is now in, ending the misery of those tires.
And unfortunately, I think Murph staying out for this extra lap has really hindered him. Though there's still a lot of laps left to go, so not all is lost yet. But yeah, this last lap was a bit just not ideal.
Druid has overtaken Cypher for 5th place. I believe Cypher's had a moment in turn 5. His tires are also going. He was one of the soft runners, as was Damo and Murph. And Lyle, that Lamborghini is one of those platforms, like the R8, eats up the rear tires for breakfast. And you're seeing it there on the left rear of that car as well. It's just, that can, with this many right turns, that can't possibly feel good. He is coming in this time to lead. Ooh, that might also be a little close there, but I think he might be alright. And Lyle's also come in off the soft tire. No fuel! So
yeah, no fuel.
Is this another soft run then?
It could well be.
We saw this last season at Red Atlanta, where guys were using up all the softs and just pushing to go as fast as possible. Maybe that's what's happening here? Oh, but Lyle got himself a 3-second penalty for cutting the pit entry. Uh-oh. Has DJ...
Wait.
DJ's... Oh no, they didn't have the tires ready! It was a only! And he's got a 3 penalty! Talk about beating a man with his crutches!
Oh Oh, that is so
so he's
unfortunate for
probably
DJ.
going to lose. He might lose a lap after this. And that's really unfortunate because Cypher was
Oh.
having a really good race to that point.
Indeed, he was, and yeah, just maybe a lack of communication from the team. He didn't have his tires ready. That's ooh.
Oh, man. And now up front, Mercedes, I think, is trying to do a little bit of management because Phil has caught him right back up. So, that Ferrari right on the back of that Mercedes.
Oh no!
Turn 5 gravel! Oh, dear.
Oh,
Just when we pan to the battle for the lead, it's no longer a battle for the lead. Phil's trying to rejoin.
oh, the rejoin!
No!
No!
And Demo, his bad day continues. Now he's got front end damage again.
Oh no!
And I can't imagine Phil's car doesn't have damage. Yeah, he's got rear end damage on that car. And that's gonna allow the opportunity for Druid, coach, to possibly eat up that 44 car. Because now there's very little rear downforce.
It could well be. This was also good news for Sarah, who's moved up into P2 and seems to be somewhat getting closer and closer to Rev in that Mercedes. But Phil, very unfortunate. It's really easy to lose the back end in the way he did there, but the rejoin was a bit clumsy. Oh, I think that might warrant a penalty from the stewards, after the race, but we'll have to wait for the investigation. It does mean that it has hindered him quite a lot, as well as Demo, unfortunately, once again picking up the damage.
Well, Demo was already a lap down to begin with here. So his day already was pretty well derailed. So, I imagine with this damage and running the hard tire, it's gone so much worse for that 39 Porsche. Right now he's got coach for company behind him. I'm surprised he hasn't given way to him just yet. Now he does. So, coach in a little bit of freer air. And I think Red's done managing for now because he's given up a gap to Sarah. Or built up a gap, I should say, to Sarah in the number 9 Lambo. But now Phil, yeah, he's got company with Druid. What were you gonna say, Pedro?
Sorry, I was just about to mention in the battle for the lead. It seems like Sarah has a bit more fuel than Red at the moment, but her rear tires seem to be doing worse, although front left seems to be pretty similar between them two.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the Huracan loves to eat its rear tires for breakfast. I think Sarah's having that issue right there. The Lambo and R8 platform, it's a weird handling one. I'm not sure how you do it, Pedro, because that car seems to be unstable when you don't want it to be.
Yeah, sometimes it is a bit tricky. It's well, I do like it in the sense that it gives a bit more. You can really feel the rotation of the car a bit more. It's less unstable than the R8. I think it's really about a way of you trying to manage that oversteer and use it to your advantage, in a sense. It did seem like the handling around here when I was testing it was pretty good, and Sarah is proving exactly that point. She's in P2 at the moment, running very competitive lap times. She seems to be handling the car quite well, and she could be up for a really good finish here.
Yeah, she's had a really good feature race so far, although I think she's had enough of these tires, and it is coming in. So, this is a scheduled stop, no damage, no anything of that nature. So, 4 fresh Firestone Firehawks on that Lamborghini. Not sure what compound, but she is fueling up. So, she might be intending to go a little long this stint here and see what happens.
Maybe.
Not a bad idea.
This will definitely force Red into having to make a decision on his own strategy. Do you reckon he might pit in the upcoming laps, or will he stay unfazed and stay out?
Well, the main car he was racing now has rear end damage and has been hemorrhaging time to him. So, I have a feeling now, I think he's going to be put into a point where he's going to relax a little. So, he can do a little bit more management, see if he can go a little longer on medium set, and see what happens from there. It's an interesting predicament.
Yeah, because Sarah also came out in a pretty good position, seeing as she has a bit of a clear track ahead, not much traffic at the moment. So we'll see. Oh, Sparky!
Oh, he's gone
Sparky's
off! At turn 7, he's gone around!
He's touched the grass. Oh, no! Oh my goodness.
Big polyphony for ghosting.
Oof.
Oh, that could have been a massive T-bone into the passenger side of that McLaren and absolutely ruined 2 cars' races.
Wow, I thought we were going to get another commentator's curse moment there.
Don't you put that on me, Pedro. But yeah, they're very lucky that happened, because that could have been really bad for Sarah. Just as we mentioned, just came out of the pits. Fresh set of medium tires on that car, and she is trying to fly. Not literally, not the Yannick Dalmas kind of fly. I know what you're thinking. Not that kind of flying, especially around here. But she needs to go fast as possible right now if she wants to have a chance at that Mercedes. Although I am impressed with Phil, even with the damage, he's managed to stay ahead of Druid, and now Coach has joined the battle in his number 5 Supra.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Coach seems to be in a pretty good position. He's been doing consistent sort of lap times in the 1 minute 21s for quite a few laps. His tires seem to be in pretty good shape, which means, as we know, he's done it in the past. He seems to be really good at managing his tires. Could give him an advantage in terms of strategy, because
Druid's
I was going to say, Druid's coming in. The cars in front of him are probably going to have to pit sooner.
Yep. Although the Lexus can be a little bit of a dog on its tires, I speak from personal experience. So, if you nurse these tires, you might be able to get a couple more laps. But right now, I think the FR cars are hitting that limit on their left front. So, the Mercedes of Red, the Supra of Coach, and the GTR of Gary, I think they're starting to hit their performance cliff right now. But because of all this pit strategy going on, I think most of the cars have spread out some, which I guess gives everyone a little bit of a breather. We're almost at 30 laps to go. Once the leader crosses the line 2 more times, as Red comes in. So he said he's had enough, although I think he's copying himself a 3-second there.
I was wondering that. He had a bit of a slide. Hopefully it doesn't pick up a penalty, but...
Now does Phil... No, Phil stays out. He's going to try taking advantage of Red coming in and stay out 1 more. Coach will also stay out 1 more.
Yeah, Phil seems to be... Obviously, that Ferrari goes through its rear tires a lot more. Its front still seem to be in pretty good shape, though, or relatively good shape compared to the cars around them. Just unfortunate that obviously he has that damage. It's pretty impressive the way that he's been lapping so well, and considering obviously the amount of time he lost during the spin as well, and he lost control of the car. And yeah, but I'd probably pit soon, because the last thing you want to do is run that Ferrari on very worn tires. You can definitely feel the rear end wanting to dance.
And Red has gotten himself a 3-second penalty.
Ooh.
So that's going to hurt him a little bit.
He's on the hard tires as well.
So he'll be going long this stint. But what I find interesting about that is some of these cars are really going through their fuel on mediums. So there's a little bit of a wonder if the hards are really all that worth it. At least to me, as we see Coach diving it down the inside of Phil. Phil holds on. Nearly a bit of a pucker moment there. But Phil stays out one more lap, and he'll fend off Coach's Supra for at least a little bit.
Sorry to interrupt, but Lyle and Sarah both overtook Gary. Sarah being the latest one to overtake him as going through the chicane, and I think she might have a run on Lyle here, who's on older soft tires.
Yep. Lyle trying the all-soft strategy for at least the first few stints. And it doesn't seem like it's paying all that much of a dividend here, is it? As we see Sparky has come in off the medium tire. And I like that Sarah's trying to be patient here. Apply pressure, but don't be over-aggressive to do something stupid in the S's. Because you see it in IMSA all the time at the Petit Le Mans. Someone does something stupid in the S's and it creates a massive crash. Here's Sarah.
There she goes.
Yep, waited until turn 5 and has got the Ferrari cleared. So well done by Sarah there. And that puts her back into a podium position.
Great move from Sarah.
And here we go, Phil and Coach side by side. Down the back straightaway, Coach clears the Ferrari, and I don't think Phil's got anything left.
I think he even signaled to let Coach through.
Possibly, though he stays out one more. I'm not sure about the thought process of staying out one more. Again. But he's going to try it. He's going to... I wonder if he's going to try running that car on fumes as Sparky comes out right in front of these guys.
With a 3-second penalty as well.
That's got to be frustrating. I think someone's had a moment. Someone's
Lyle
had a moment. Yeah, it is Lyle. No fuel, no tire on that car. I thought someone had spun. No, it's just the pit entry. Sparky, you got. I feel like Sparky needs to. I'm sure he's seeing these blue flags, right?
Well, I hope so.
Because those guys are getting closer.
I think I'm seeing a battle between Murph and Druid for P6 and 7.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So Murph just washed out wide, obviously on older mediums, and that's Druid's position to take. But yeah, hopefully... Oh, I think Sparky, obviously serving the penalty here. So Kunch and Phil are through. I do wonder if any of them is going to pull the trigger and finally pit. No, still staying out.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it makes sense. He tries going long whenever he can. So I could see that happening here. Phil, I'm very surprised by, because I feel like I'm going to start seeing chunks of that left rear start coming out of that pit lane, coming out of the rear of that Ferrari. As someone comes in, it is Damo again. So he gets off the hard tire early. I think he's had enough of the damage. And away he goes. Had a miserable day for that 39 car so far in this feature. He's already lost one lap. He might be losing a second here.
Seems to have been involved in those incidents, unfortunately, and it really cost him quite a lot today.
He'll be coming out in the middle of the battle between
another penalty.
Druid and Murph, and yeah, so easy to do to get yourself that 3-second time penalty. And there's a big battle up in front of the leaders. Well, not as big as I thought. Simon and Cypher are battling for 9th place. Cypher's not found a way around that BMW just yet. And Phil is finally coming in. There's nothing left, tire or fuel, for that Ferrari. So that frees Coach up a little bit.
1% fuel.
Yeah. And Simon does let Cypher go right now. So I don't know if Simon had a moment, or if he just decided it wasn't worth it to keep Cypher behind any longer.
Yeah, I think seeing as he still has damage, has worn tires and low fuel, he'll probably want to make sure that Cypher doesn't lose that much time, or that they don't. Oh my goodness, sorry, that they don't lose that much time fighting. Finally, the words came out.
A little bit of a tongue twister there. And Phil wasn't the only T50 driver to come in. Gary did too. He's been having a quiet one. He's been keeping himself nice and tidy since the concertina. So he's fueling up all the way on that car, and they're fixing the rear bumper now. There he goes. So, kind of interesting to see where both of the T50 guys come out at. Phil comes out 7th, well ahead of Cypher in 8th. Gary, I think, he might be a little bit behind this battle with Lyle and Simon. Although I'm seeing the signal come on for Lyle. And it's still on, so I'm wondering what's happening there. Now, nope, it's not coming off just yet.
Maybe he just signaled that he wanted to go for the pits, but just forgot to turn it off.
Although, speaking of coming to the pits, I have a feeling Simon's going to be coming. The left front is gone on that BMW M6. He's got blue flags. For Coach, he lets it through pretty quickly, but I can't imagine that M6 is going to be driving very pleasantly. Especially with the tire that far down.
Yeah, and with damage as well.
Can't imagine that. I can't imagine the damage helping. Although, do you happen to know if the damage does actually increase the front tire wear?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I do know that it does affect obviously the cornering and the straight line speed, seeing as it is at the front. I'm not actually unsure whether it does affect the tire wear. It would be a very good point, actually.
Oh, Coach! He's coming in, but I already know he's copped himself a 3 second for that one.
Yeah,
but after 23 laps, the mediums come off the 5.
It's a very good stint from Coach as well. Trying to go a bit longer than anyone else.
Actually, almost halfway.
Yeah,
if he does this on the hards, and does a little bit of fuel management, he could be on for a 1-stop.
He could well be.
Awfully ballsy move, to be honest with you. But if anyone's going to try it, it's Coach. But him pitting has put Sarah out in front in that number 9 Lamborghini.
Yeah, she seems to be about 16 or 17 seconds ahead of Rev. Obviously going for the hard tires, fueling a bit more than Sarah. But it seems like her strategy is paying off at the moment.
So I have to imagine then, she goes to the end of the tank, maybe puts on a set of hards and goes to the end?
Could be. Seems to be the most likely option at the moment, seeing as, yeah, the fuel isn't necessarily... She doesn't have that much fuel at the moment, so it could well be.
And I was right, Coach did cop himself a 3-second penalty for that. Pit entry. Tell you what though, this race is starting to come together strategy-wise, because now we're starting to see what hands everybody has right now.
Yeah, and I was also going to mention something just between the Sarah and Red. Even though Red is on the hard tires, he seems to be lapping at a very good pace, almost matching, if not even better in a few laps compared to Sarah. So this could be really good for him as well. I don't really know what he's going to do next, but he could well stop again, maybe for a set of mediums?
That's what I'm thinking as well here. Oh. Coach. Yep, Coach has served his penalty. And that's put him right back behind Phil. So these two are having at it again. And, oh dear. Well, just when you think it couldn't get worse for Damon, the 39 Porsche, it has. He's had a spin the previous lap. And now has more front end damage. Tell you what, I'm pretty sure they're going to be running out of spare bodywork in that pit stall. The way this race is going. Oh, someone's gone around!
Oh, that's Simon.
It's Simon! And that's right towards the beginning of the S's. And he's had that is a massive one. And that's left front damaged on that car. He's going to get out of the way of Sparky and the leader. So, good job by him. He throws a cone. He throws a cone onto the track, but I don't think that's going to... unless if that somehow, by the defiance of God, ends up in somebody's grill, we should be fine. Although knowing how this race has played out so far, that could very well still happen. So maybe I should shut my trap on.
Well, hopefully not. It would be quite unlucky if any of our drivers caught up that cone. I think Sparky is going to let through Sarah.
He's trying to fight it.
He seems to be... Wow, I was going to say, he seems to be making it difficult for her to overtake.
And I noted that when Coach got up to him that he was making it hard. I mean, we do have the blue flag rule for a reason. So that we don't have leaders getting impacted so hard by lap traffic. Now, granted, I don't know if Sparky doesn't know that the leaders are that close to him.
Could also be that.
I don't know if he runs VR, whether or not he doesn't have the visibility, say you or I do, Pedro, when we get a blue flag. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. That he might not have the knowledge to know whether or not he is being hounded by a leader or not.
Yeah. Must be clarified as well for our viewers that the blue flag rules are different than endurance racing, where it's the leading car that needs to find a way to safely overtake the lapped car. Our rules, or rules in Nighthawk Racing, state that the lapped car must let the leaders through in a safe manner, so similar to what happens in Formula 1.
And the point of that rule is, as I mentioned, so that the leaders don't have the race impacted by a lapped car. Because you've seen it in NASCAR, you've more than definitely seen it in IndyCar, you've seen it in sports cars. The leader gets hampered by traffic because the lap traffic doesn't have to. Yep, and that is no fuel in that car, so that's what I was expecting. Now my question is, will that car be able to do 20 laps on a set of hard tires?
Well, I think realistically, it's the only option that Sarah has at the moment, because she still hasn't fulfilled the 2 different tire compounds mandatory rule. So it's either that, or she maybe goes again mediums and softs. But
see, the problem with that strategy is you lose so much time in the pit.
Yeah, seeing as it's
not
a
a full
pit
fuel.
lane.
So she is doing what you were suggesting. Because I think she's going to be coming out on a set of medium.
Well, I was going to say, seeing as this pit lane is relatively long...
Haslett's coming as well off the medium tire. I believe this is his second stop.
Yeah, these mediums for Sarah again.
So she'll be going through that, and on the softs at the end. I'm not sure if that was the right call to make here. And Damo is in the way of Phil. And Coach. Phil gets by the old-fashioned way, but Coach's race is impacted. So that might be a problem for the Supra. He's going to try.
Might go for it. Oh! Cypher's in the wall!
No! He's gone around to the S's and more front-end damage for that Lamborghini. He was fighting for the, I believe he was fighting for 7th at that point. And Damo's still not let Coach by!
Coach won't be happy with that, although he's getting slipstream from him, which should help him
well, what help is
recover the gap a little bit.
What help is the slipstream when he was much closer to Phil's? Damo drives it down the inside of Coach!
No!
Damo! You gotta let him go, man! I know what number is on your car, but you are not Ryan Newman. You gotta let him go.
Ooh, that might be one for the stewards to look at towards
Yep.
the end of the race.
No doubt about that. Murph has come in off of his set of medium tires. So, he was doing pretty good there in that second stint. But now Phil has breathing room for 4th place. Coach has his work cut out for him.
Unfortunately, Coach just missing out on a lot of time there due to that car incident.
He was on the back of Phil going into the S's the last lap. Now it's about 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. So it's about he's dropped to about a 3-second gap.
Look like it. I'm
Yeah,
seeing
that
Lyle
is
and Gary very
unfortunate.
close to one another as well, right behind them.
Yeah, these two pitted reasonably close to each other here. Lyle and Gary did. And I got a kick out of the signal still being on Lyle's car. I don't know if turn signals in race cars have the same sound they give when in your passenger car on the road, let alone if you're able to hear that. At the very least, it's not drawing power from the battery, which is always a good thing. The less draws, the better on a race car. But tell you what, though, Gary is getting a little bit closer because I think his tires are in better shape.
Yeah, it does seem like it's at this point in time, and can't actually remember when they both pitted, but he's getting closer and closer. Oh no!
Oh no, he's in the grass! Second time in this race for him, but once again keeps it out of the wall. Better than what we've seen earlier, but he loses a lot of time trying to keep that car in a straight line. But you know what? I'd say that's the better alternative than finding yourself in the wall.
Yeah, definitely. The way that he managed to control the cars so that he didn't hit the wall was pretty crucial there. And he might be missing out on a second or two to Lyle at the moment, but it will definitely help him that he didn't pick up any damage in the process.
Absolutely, and tell you what, a lot of the field's been spread out a bit as a result of some of the chaos. Closest battle I'm observing right now, I think, is between the 51 of Haslett and the 12 of Sparky. That's for P9. Although I just saw flipping through, I think Damo's giving Druid a hard time. Druid, who is in second place right now, hasn't gone out of the way.
Yeah, with Druid as well. He's been having a quiet race where he's once again just doing everything very consistently and managing the race at his own will. Seems to be. It might seem that he might have to pit soon. If I'm honest, and so will Red actually.
Yeah, both those cars are running low red on fuel. But, Damo, careful!
Ooh.
Well, now he's caught up the car he is trying to battle for position. And that poses a little bit of a dilemma. Well, Druid says, nope, I'm not gonna deal with that right now. I'm gonna come in for one more stop. So, probably the wise idea, seeing that these two are still battling. Damo has gone ahead of Simon for 12th. Tell you what, though, I'm pretty sure the stewards have been in 39's ear to tell him that you gotta let leaders go. I know today's not been a good day. You gotta let him go, though. As we see, Sarah's caught right up on the back of Simon. Oh, Simon's gone around! Oh, boy.
Oh, and I think we might be seeing a move for P8 here between Sparky and Haslett. They're very close to each other. Oh, Sparky might... Oh, I thought he was going to head into the pits.
He was thinking about it. He was thinking about it. I saw that. Either that or he was trying to bait Haslett into it.
Red is coming in, though.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
No fuel on that Mercedes-Benz, so So, I can't say I'm shocked about that. As we see, I think Druid just gets out ahead of these two, Sparky and Haslett. That Porsche breathing down the neck of that McLaren, trying to make something, anything stick in the way of momentum. But Sparky's got Druid slipstream here, so that's going to help him out defending against that Porsche. The Porsche moving a little bit, trying to find a spot. Sparky gets a little caught out by Druid. And now it's a 7. It's real close now. Haslett gets a better run than Sparky. These two are battling for position, so nothing needing to be worried about aside from don't crash the car. Sparky goes all the way to the inside. Now moves back to the outside. Druid serves a penalty for cutting the pit entry line, I think. Might be a little more than one move there, but it might be gradual enough to be considered one move. Haslett now tries 10B.
Ooh.
They're side by side. The 51 gets a much better run, and he gets the position.
It was great from Haslett, forcing Sparking to taking a bit of a more defensive line through the chicane, and just taking advantage of that extra grip on the medium tires compared to the hards, as well as a better line through that entire section altogether.
Absolutely, and Sparky goes off!
Ooh.
Keep it together, he does! So easy to lose it here in the S's. Thankfully, Sparky has enough tire, has enough control to keep it together. Although he's lost a lot of momentum, and that might open up an assault by Druid here. So, that Lexus is getting pretty close, ain't he? Those fresh medium tires doing a whale of a job bringing him back into this for the battle for P8. As you mentioned, he's had a pretty quiet, good race, Druid has in that Lexus. Something that been noticing through the season. He's been steadily improving his racecraft. And that's definitely something, even if you have a bad position by the end of the day, that's something you can gladly come away with at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially as a rookie. I think he's not a rookie to racing altogether, but obviously as you're in your rookie season, that's really one of the main aspects you want to work on and, you know, get as good as possible before the upcoming seasons. And yeah, as you say, I think he's really been improving in that aspect.
And it's noticeable when guys start improving the racecraft as the season goes on, if they're new. It's something the other guys take notice of, and they'll shape their race around you for it. You know, race how you are raced.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to build that respect, but once you get that respect, oh boy, is it something to have. Coach has been trying everything that he can do to get closer to Phil again, but he's just not had any luck bringing himself back to that Ferrari. As we see Lyle into the pit lane for what I presume to be the final time. So it was a stint on the mediums this time, and I have no doubt to believe that it'll be the same this time.
Yeah, just probably safest bet to make sure that he does get to the end without having to worry too much about his tires.
Oh, something I've just noticed. Red might have, you know something, he might have overfueled.
Yeah, I was looking at that as well.
Although, granted, in my personal experience, I'd rather be safe than sorry when it comes to fuel. I personally don't like cutting it close on fuel, because then, tell you what, I've just got bad memories from older Gran Turismos doing that.
Honestly, I was going to say the same, even in this game, in other kinds of league racing. I'm usually very... Oh! Wow. The way
You caught Cypher at a bad time there. You got Cypher at a bad time out of 10B, and he could have sworn that car was going around. Thankfully, he didn't. he keeps it going. He lost probably maybe a second, maybe two. But seeing the pace of that Mercedes, I don't think that's going to hinder him all that much. Although, I just say he's probably being... Oh! Has someone gone around? Someone has gone around!
It's Simon.
It's Simon! The rough race continues for the 69 BMW. And that's an unusual spot. I haven't seen anyone spin at turn 12 today yet.
Well, I think seeing as the way that the corner is kind of cambered and going downhill, it could easily mean that you lose a bit of shape on the rear, and especially in that M6, talking from experience, can be a bit tricky to keep the rear end in check at times. So, yeah.
Oh, here we go again. Damo and Coach find each other on track one. Damo being given the blues, and he's not really relenting all that much. Coach is going to have to do this the hard way. He goes down the inside, nudges the 3-9.
Oh!
Makes it work. A little bit of loose going in. Damo flashes lights of disapproval, but I don't think he's got much of a ground to stand. Oh, no! Damo! Oh, dear. And both cars have gone around in the S's. What on earth? And that's ruined Coach's car. He was running in third, still trying to catch Phil. He'd finally made his progress. Now, and he's got a half-second penalty.
Wow.
Beating a man with his crutches after you've swept the leg.
Wow, Coach has been so unlucky throughout this entire event. I mean, he didn't manage to...
Arguably from the season.
Yeah, if I'm honest, yeah, I do entirely agree.
Tell you what,
wow,
I am hearing the stewards. Yeah, he won't be happy, as are the stewards. I am hearing in my radio that's going to be investigated after this race. So that's going to be that's going to be a talking point after this race. Hopefully this doesn't turn into anything serious. But I just don't know how. I just don't think I've got any. For once in my life, I am speechless. For once, the American finally shuts up.
I am truly in awe. I think it has been a very clumsy sort of race for Damo, and yeah, these incidents certainly won't warrant any kind words from Coach, at least, and the stewards might have something to say as well, as you mentioned there. But,
and you know what? Remember what I said a few laps ago. You're race how you are raced, and
yeah,
that changes driver to driver. And I have a feeling that might be something. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about in the future, but something in the back of my mind, knowing how American racing has gone in the past with guys being raced a certain way. You know, you look at Ryan Newman, he races guys absolutely hard as possible, even if he's being lapped. Or you see Joey Logano drives through somebody, and that same person, when presented an opportunity to drive through Logano, like Matt Kenseth, he takes it, because he's had enough of how Logano would race him. It's just something in the back. It's something that doesn't really get mentioned in Nighthawk, but respect is earned for these drivers.
Yeah, I do think that luckily we haven't really had any sort of these kinds of issues between drivers, and even when they get settled pretty easily. So I'll be hoping that this is one of the cases as well. But yeah, I totally agree with your statement there. It's yeah, sometimes you just have to race different drivers in a different way, and even if you're not thinking about it directly, subconsciously it might have an impact on how you approach, let's say, an overtake or a moment where you're racing side by side with one of these drivers. And yeah, but I'll be hoping that this all gets settled once they both get into the room with the stewards, and
I think
possibly try and avoid these sorts of incidents in the future. Oh, Phil is in the pits.
Yep, Phil is in. The tires are gone on that car, so he'll be doing one more set. I think he might be going to the end of the softs here. But tell you what here, I've just got a little bit of radio communication from the officials. Both drivers of 5 and 39 to the steward's office after this race. So if anything does happen, they want to nip it in the butt ASAP. Which good. That's the correct stance to take here, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully get everything cleared up and properly settled. Yeah, and it's just so that these kinds of incidents don't happen again.
We've got, in the meantime, Red has closed in on the back of Coach's Mercedes. A big tire difference on top of a downforce difference right now. I don't think Coach is going to make this one too hard on Red. Seeing where Red has been compared to him throughout the race, you know, that Mercedes has been blistering today.
I'm sorry, Sarah's in.
Yep, and it's for fuel and tires, so she'll be going to the end on the softs here. She'll need 7 laps of fuel thereabouts. 7-8 laps of fuel.
Oh, Red is going for the move.
Yep, and job done. So, clean air for the rest of the race for the 56 car, barring lap traffic. And we await to see where the 9 comes out versus the leaders. Someone else is coming in, I believe.
It's Simon.
Yeah. Tell you what, it's not been an easy day for him. Good on everyone, at least, for plugging away at this. This track is very difficult.
Yeah, it really is. It really makes the car to behave a bit unpredictably in a few sections, and you know, sometimes it's not really easy to deal with those moments during the race where you already have to be worried about so many things at the same time.
I feel like I've missed something, because Haslett's got right front wheel damage, so I might have missed him having a moment. As we see Sparky come in, and it looks like Haslett will be coming in as well. I think he's had a moment where he's clipped something with just the wheel, which is that's a very difficult thing to do, I feel like.
Well,
although we did see, I think we saw the sprint someone. I think we saw him get left rear wheel damage after his incident.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe just a small contact with another car, or possibly just hitting the wall at that precise angle where you don't get a rear bumper damage or any sort of bumper damage for that effect.
Coach is in. Sorry to interrupt you, Pedro.
In. Yeah.
So he'll be doing 7 laps to the end on a set of softs, no doubt. Despite the trials and tribulations of that 5 car today, I'd say he's done a pretty solid job for himself.
Yeah, he's still running very high, and I think he'll even... Oh, I was going to say, I think he'll get out ahead of Phil, but not really, unfortunately.
No,
but he will have a really solid chance of taking away extra points.
Oh, and Sarah's happened upon Haslett, who gets out of the way, and Damo, who now gets out of the way. I think. Ooh, a little close for comfort there. A little close for comfort, but he held his line. So, I don't know about you. I don't feel like playing chicken with lap traffic. Not this late in the race.
Oh no, not really. It's the point of the race where you really don't want to take any damage. If you're, you know, especially in Sarah's case, she's still have a chance at fighting for the win, possibly, if the right things go her way. You'll never know. Or even just, maintaining herself on the podium.
Hang on, I think someone's gone off a bit. A little bit, but I don't see any significant damage. Damo does have front end damage. Thankfully, it looks like everyone keeping it tidy for the last 7 laps, and that's really all you can ask for at this point with how this race has played out.
Sarah's
gone herself into clean traffic. Sorry to again, Peg.
Oh no, sorry.
So,
Just mentioning that, Sarah got through. She set the fastest first sector.
and that is crucial, because that gets you 3 points for fastest lap if she's able to complete it here. A little scruffy through turn 7, so I don't think it's happening this time. But, tell you what, she's ran herself a brilliant race today.
Oh, absolutely. Starting from P7 and being this competitive all the way, keeping it, everything under control. It's a result that she'll definitely be proud of. Which, I mean, it's not really a surprise seeing how well she did around here last season as well. He definitely knows her way around Road Atlanta, and clearly proving that even in a different car she can still be really competitive, and she set the fastest lap as well.
Yep, she swipes that away from Red. Now, granted, Red's on the medium, so I don't think he's in position to take it. So, it's up to Phil and Coach, I think, to snatch it away. Druid's coming in one last stop, I think. I don't think... Oh, he needed fuel, that's why. I was about to say, he probably could have made it on the medium tire in that Lexus. But he'll come in. About the Falcon tires.
Oh,
But, some catch your eye?
I think Druid changed his tires as well, so do you reckon this will be a last-ditch attempt of taking away a few more points with the fastest lap?
That's what I'm thinking here. I guess he wasn't quite comfortable with the feel of the medium tire. So he'll be going out probably on a set of softs here. 5 to go. But of course, he's not going to be in the cleanest of air, because I think he'll be joining a little bit behind Lyle.
Oh, I am seeing Sarah just improve on her previous second sector time by around 3/10. So this is probably going to be another very good fastest lap.
Yeah, this is going to be a stonking lap here by Sarah. Not as much as I thought. Just a little smidgen ahead. About 200ths worth.
I think she lost a little bit at the entry of the chicane, unfortunately.
Yeah, this whole track is one of those places where it's really hard to nail it because of how tight and confined yet fast this is. That's the challenge everyone finds when they come in October for Petit Le Mans. But we see time and again, guys take that challenge and conquer it. And tell you what, we're coming to 3 to go this time. I'm very impressed with that 56 Mercedes. Lights out this weekend. Didn't quite start on pole for the feature. So it's not quite a grand slam or a hat trick. But, this has just been very impressive from Red. His first ever Nighthawk race. And that car is hauling the mail. And there's just no other way to put it. This car has been on it.
Yeah, he's been relentless throughout this entire event, and sprint in particular, starting from P12, ending up with a win, and as well in here, just playing all these cars, being super quick, super consistent across all tire compounds, and being this competitive straight off the bat is really a great sight.
No doubt by Interlagos, we're going to see Red lobby in his future. As, look at this, Sparky is trying to race him. Which, even though we do have a similar blue flag rule to the one, we do have where you can unlap yourself if you feel like you are faster consistently throughout the race. Though I don't think right now Sparky is in position to take advantage of that, because he's just lost a little bit in turn 7. Tell you what, I mentioned him earlier, but I'm going to mention him again. T50 Gary in that 17 GTR.
Oh my goodness.
As I mentioned. Oh, someone's got around!
No!
It's Cypher!
Oh,
he was trying to hound Saber Venom. I believe he was trying to hound into that top 10, and unfortunately I think he's going to quite get there today. But as I was going to say, T50 Gary the number 17 GTR. Incredibly quiet race. He had damage at the start of this race after the concertina turns. And he's steadily, quietly, efficiently made his way into a top 5 finish, which no doubt he can come away proud of that one.
Oh, he certainly should. It's, the way that he dealt with that damage throughout an entire stint and still managed to be this quick throughout the rest of the race is something to be proud of. This is not an easy track by any means.
Absolutely not. Although, I will say, I think everyone's a bit spread out. We don't have a lot of battling going on for position anymore. With all the chaos, I don't blame everyone deciding to be a little more spread out than normal.
Yeah. And I must say, Sarah, on the previous lap, she improved on her fastest lap.
Ooh. That
Now
Lambo loves the softs.
Now that is something that I don't think anyone will have an answer to at this point in the race.
No, I think everyone's tires are done for as Reds cross the line to take the final lap. Everyone's tires are cooked. There's just no time, no tire life left to be able to mount that kind of charge. Coach has been trying the last few laps. He's at a personal best of a 20.0, but I don't think he's going to be able to get there quite yet, unless maybe... No.
Not quite.
So, I think that bookends anyone's attempts at a fastest lap. It's been an absolutely imperious race for Red LMR 56. Oh, he's short shifting. He's incredibly short shifting.
Oh,
this isn't as secure as I once thought it was. He's let Sparky back through. He's short shifted incredibly on a turn 7. Going through 8 and 9, now he's back up to normal. I think he just wanted to be sure he had enough fuel. But he goes through turn 10B for the final time. Down the hill in his first ever Nighthawk race. Red, you are a winner. He wins at Michelin Road Atlanta Raceway. Sarah Hockey with the brilliant P2 in that number 9 Lamborghini. Doesn't quite go much faster. Phil in the number 44. He's had his own trials and tribulations today, especially with the turn 5 spin. He'll come away with P3. Brilliant stuff by the T50 driver. And Coach, after everything he's been through today, he'll be coming across the line 4th. And a little bit of an empty feeling of what if today. Oh, and sure enough, the next car to cross the line after him is Damo, before stewarding decisions, comes home 12th. Another car has crossed the line. It is Haslett. The 51 Porsche comes home 10th. Cypher 11th. Unum Lyle, another quiet race for them. Nice and clean. No damage to that car. That purple and black Ferrari comes home pristine in 6th place. Chaos Druid, pretty solid race, all things considered, in 7th place. Murph will come home 8th. With another dead left front tire. I can't imagine Michelin's too happy with him, with the state he's returning his tires. And Sparky, with no fuel, comes across the line 10th. Simon across the line in 13th. What a race this was!
My goodness. It was a bit chaotic at times, but it just provided us with so many good moments this race has. So much excitement. I mean, you could go on and make a point on how practically everyone did a very good race today. I mean, Red, what is there to say? Like, two wins out of his first 2 races in, technically it's his first event, but with a sprint win and a feature race win in his first outing at Nighthawk Racing, being extremely quick and competitive off the bat, working his strategy very well throughout this race. Sarah, unlucky in the sprint, but a phenomenal feature race, bearing in mind that she started from 7th in here. and finish quite comfortably in P2. Maybe with a bit more luck her way. Could have possibly fought for P1, you'll never know. Then Phil obviously having that damage very early on in this race and finishing on the podium, that's superb from him. Same as Coach, he's been thrown everything his way, unfortunately, throughout this entire event. And picking up a podium in the sprint and the P4 in the feature, something that he should be happy with. Same with Gary, another race where he picked up damage early on, finishing in P5, very good. Two very consistent and solid races for Lyle and Druid. Murph, especially seeing as he had to, deal with the high tire wear for his first stint, finishing in this position is really good for him. I think just a bit of bad luck for a few of our drivers as well behind them, but what a race! What a race!
Yeah, absolutely. Just got a stewards decision from up top. Car 39, Damo, has been issued a 60-second time penalty for causing a collision. So that's a pretty hefty penalty, but does not change where he finished because he was still multiple laps ahead of Simon. But gotta say, that's an awfully big penalty.
Yeah, I must say, Damo just a bit clumsy today in the, with those moments. I know he's always a driver who looks to avoid these incidents, and he's very cautious when it comes to that. But unfortunately today was just too much going on, unfortunately. But I'm sure he'll learn from this and avoid it from happening in the future. Hopefully, him and Coach got out of that steward's office, with sorting out this whole situation, so that it doesn't impact the future moments where they have to race against each other. Unfortunately, it's just the price he had to pay for this one. I'm sure he'll come back stronger for the next event.
It's so easy to give into that red mist when your race ain't going the way it was supposed to. But it's a skill you gotta learn to fight through that. Block that out, just plug away, and be ready for the next one. And I'm sure Damo will be ready for his next race, as will Coach. But that leads us to, of course, your favorite question. Who was your driver of the day, Pedro?
You know what? I think there's the obvious contender being Red. I think he just didn't put a foot wrong throughout the entirety of this event. As I said, super impressive performance, both in the feature and the sprint, even in qualifying with the P2. I'm truly in awe of his performance today. Must say, obviously, a special shout out to Sarah for getting that really good finish in the feature. But I think my driver of the day has to be Red.
I want to agree with you, but I think Sarah gets the edge. Just the edge for me. It's very close between Red and Sarah on that, because this was probably one of her better races I've seen. And
I agree.
It was now the strategy may not have quite gone the way she wanted it. She just needed one more lap, I think. But
I think so too.
Man, that was just an all-time race from her. The second half of Nighthawk Racing absolutely put on a thriller. But I even feel a bit bad for leaving Coach out of the equation, because he did so well considering everything that was thrown his way. I think we should probably go for more than a driver of the day, if I'm honest. Yeah. This might be drivers of the day.
Drivers, yeah.
But on the topic of thrillers, I think it's time us to put our own on for the red feature, don't you think?
I think so, yeah, let's do it.
So before we get into the feature race for round 8, we're going to go and have a look at the qualifying results. And in pole position, we've got Charlie on the softs with a 1:17.8, and then KD the Kai in P2 with a 1:18.2, but he sets his time on the mediums. In P3 we then have Fodder on the mediums as well with a 1:18.6, and in P4 we have Dark Lord on the mediums with a 1:18.7. Pedro following him closely behind on the mediums as well with a 1:18.3, and then we have one half of Nighthawk Midnight ISO on the mediums with a 1:19.4, and then Kirk P7 on the mediums as well with a 1:19.4, very close to Midnight's time there. And in P8 we have Nigel Mansnell on the mediums as well. You can sense the theme here with a 1:19.6.
Perfect, and then we have Big Crazy Bertie in P9, 1:19.7, also knows medium tyres. Then Giles, P10, medium tyres, 1:19.7, also a few hundredths between them. Then P11, Mercedes, first of the hard tyre runners, with interesting choice there in that GTR. But we know it's got fairly heavy tyre wear, so maybe he's thinking strategy there, long-term strategy for him, on a 1:19.8, good time from him as well. P12, Joe Nisbet in the 4 GT, medium tyres, 1:20.4. More to come from him, I'm sure. Then P13, Sidley on the medium tyres, 1:20.7, with Iceman also on the hard tyres, 1:21 flat. So, Sarah, lots of dynamic choices there. It's very rare we see the hard tyres for qualifying, because obviously all the drivers have to start the feature race with the same tyre compound that they qualified on. So hard tyres, medium tyres, soft tyres, everywhere. Charlie clearly wanted those extra 3 points for the pole lap, so he's got that. But all the rest of the other drivers, this is going to be an entertaining one.
Yeah, I think for sure. Very interesting for the drivers that have gone on the hard tyres. Obviously, you can kind of sense what they're trying to do there. They're trying to get a little bit longer into the race before they have to think about any sort of strategy or, picking up some more fuel or rubber. But obviously, the midfield all on mediums. They've kind of, set themselves up for a good race. You've got some fast drivers in that lot there. But obviously, being a standing start, and that turn 1 and that first section, it's going to be obviously maybe some elbows out, maybe some paint rubbing between the cars. As long as drivers keep it clean and have a clean, quick getaway, it will be an interesting start to the race, I believe.
Yeah, quite right. And like you say, it's going to be a standing start, so interesting. And Charlie with those soft tyres, he's going to be off down to turn 1 rapidly. So, any predictions for like a podium in this one? I'm personally going to keep an eye on Fodder, because he's always quick, and he's been threatening more and more podiums as the season's gone on.
Yeah, I'm going to copy your prediction there. But also, I think if I was a betting man and I wanted some a safe bet, I'd probably go KD the Kai and Dark Lord in and around the podium. But for a little bit more of a wild card prediction, I see potentially someone coming from the back of the grid to get close or in or around the podium.
Do you know what? You have a good point there. And I'm going to play my own wild card. I'm going to say keep an eye on Pedro. He always does well around here as well, especially in that Huracan. With that in mind, I think it's over to the commentators. Let's get this feature race underway.
So we're just waiting for the lights to go out, and you join us here for round 8, Red Road Atlanta, which is quite hard to say. Oh, looks like Nigel has jumped the start. That's going to cause a little bit of chaos as Giles hits the back of Nigel there, but now Nigel gets going. But apart from that, the other Ferrari from Mclaren got a good start. We've got cars going 3 wide into turn 1, Bertie, Mercedes and Nigel. Everyone else going double file. Ooh, it's getting a bit tense up here towards the front end of the grid, as we see at the moment. Charlie, who decided to qualify on the softs, is looking for a very quick getaway. Midnight, have you spotted anything so far?
Only the fact that Nigel has damage. Charlie has got away really well out front, which is a little bit surprising. That GTR Kai is rapid off the start line, but you can see a lot of drivers dicing for position early on. It's just a shame for Nigel that jump start really has hindered him and given him that damage there.
Yeah, and I think it caught Giles out by a big surprise because obviously we got a little bit of damage on Giles's car as well. Oh, as Iceman looked very sideways coming out of that corner there, but he's still going. But it looks like Nigel has got a half-second penalty. He's about to take that now. That will bring Joe back into the fight a little bit here as he looks to claim that P11 spot at the moment.
Bertie also had half-second penalties there.
Oh no, that drops him down to P10. But I'm sure, obviously, we call Bertie the tyre whisperer here, so I'm sure Bertie will be keen to try and look after those tyres early on and then fight for positions later on. But talking about tyres, obviously Mercedes and Iceman deciding to go for the hard tyres, Charlie on the softs and everyone else on the medium. So already some very interesting tyre calls midnight. Agreed.
Obviously, as you said earlier on, the only exception to that being Charlie on those softs. He wanted that pole lap, he got that pole lap. What can I say? He wanted it. But Kai, we know this is where he's dangerous. If he can keep pace with a soft tyre runner on the harder of the two compounds, he is looking pretty for later on, depending on what goes on with tyre wear and conditions in the race. Fodder in P3, Kirk in P4. It does look like Kirk, he's enjoying being at the top of the field in the red lobby in that Genesis, but he's now got stiff competition for that P4 in the form of Dark Lord, our previous season champion.
Yeah, he's got definitely some pressure around him. Obviously, he's got Fodder in front and the Dark Lord breathing down his neck, so there'll be a lot of pressure on Kirk's shoulders there. But coming off of the back of a very good sprint race, I'm sure obviously he's acclimatised to the circuit and how this Genesis drives around it. So potentially we could see Kirk getting a good result here, which would be nice to see. But we've got Midnight not too far behind the Dark Lord as well. Those two racing each other for quite a while. But Pedro having a little bit of I'd say a silent start at the moment in P7. I'm sure he'll be eager to get a little bit higher up. As we see McManley trying to look for a move on Mercedes there. Obviously Mercedes are our sprint race winner around here earlier on. He'll be looking to make as many moves as possible. But Mac obviously he started in P15, so he's got probably the most difficult challenge in his hands to get through the grid, but it looks like he's doing an alright job so far.
Yeah, Mac is always one to watch and for good reason. But Mercedes last season, he did a very, very similar thing at this exact track, so on hard tyres at the back, with such an amazing stint. He's trying to replicate that success he did on those hard tyres, but he does have Mac for company, like we say, and Mac is always one who will go for the move. You have to really keep an eye out for that Irishman. Speaking of, here he goes.
Like potentially he looked for the move there. He's still looking for the move. He brakes a lot later and gets that move done and dusted at the chicane. Although has he? Because Mercedes is looking for a space, having to go take a different line, but unfortunately that loses him a bit of momentum.
Yeah, that was. I can only imagine Matt a little bit outbraked himself and just forced himself wide, but covered the line well enough to come back across and then basically put Mercedes offline. It's a fair move, if a little bit slow. And well, to be fair, it's got him in position. Mac's not going to be too worried about that. And his next potential victim is the Portugueseman of Pedro in P7. But out front,
yeah, those two having quite good battles throughout the season so far, Mac and Pedro. So be eager to see another one.
They have. Out front though, Sarah, Charlie's made a bit of a gap to Kai, and Fodder is he's harassing Kai a little bit. We haven't seen this too much. These two have always ended up in different segments of the track traditionally. It's good to see them going head to head.
Yeah, I was just checking on Charlie's progress. Like you said, it was interesting to see that he's made that break for it, or has Katie Kai made a bit of a mistake? So we didn't check in with them for a couple of laps, but those softs looks like they've paid into the favour of Charlie by getting a good break. And we have seen Kirk drop behind the Dark Lord that we were mentioning earlier. Those two having a little bit of a battle, and somewhere. As we see Fodder in that P3, he's looking for a challenge on Katie Kai here as well. Like you say, those two are pretty close on track at the moment. And I was having a little bit of a further look behind, and it looks like Mac has dropped off the back of Pedro a little bit. Everyone else, Bertie might be challenging Mercedes coming up here in the next few corners.
it does look like those hard tyres for Mercedes are taking a few laps to come in. They're not going to be the option tyre at the moment. But those mediums are looking strong as Mac tests the limits of the medium tyres and the curbs through the S's there. And we all know if you run wide at that corner, you're straight on the grass, and there's a barrier there or a time penalty just waiting for you. So he did well to avoid that. But out front, Sarah, looks like those tyres for Charlie are already showing signs of distress, shall we say. But he has absolutely gone for it. Already hitting an 18.5, which, let's face it, that's already qualifying pace. So he is really on top of this track in that M6, but it looks like he's on a very aggressive strategy. Maybe lots of soft tyres here.
Yeah, I am a fan of the M6 around here. Check out last season in the Blue Lobby for that reason why. But I know how that car drives around here, and it drives pretty well. So I think Charlie obviously getting the best out of that BMW. It's been a hard car to drive, but it has suited him for a couple of tracks. But it's good to see him doing well around here. And we all know Charlie. He's very quick on a one kind of lap pace, as we've shown by that obviously that 1:18.5. But those softs are really doing him a big favour here, creating that little bit of a buffer between himself and KD the Kai. Obviously the only problem is that it does put him on a slightly different strategy to everyone else, and we'll see him pit a little bit earlier than everybody else. So it'll be interesting to see obviously his strategy going forwards and him working himself back up through the grid.
Yeah, quite right, and as you well know, I do like an interesting strategy. Looks like Charlie's taken he's taken a leaf out of my book and then going a few extra pages further with a hyper-aggressive strategy. But this could make things very interesting, but if he's going aggressive like that, he's going to be in the pack at some point, and it's going to really... he's going to have to side through the pack very quickly not to lose any time. But I'm starting to wonder, I think those soft tyres have reached the point where they've degraded to a point where the medium's starting to reel them in. His last lap was 2 tenths slower than Kai, but how far can he push it? I guess we'll find out. The rest of the top 5, a little bit more spaced out. Kirk is holding P5 at the moment after that second place in the sprint. He's going to be happy with himself, but can he stay there for the rest of the race?
Oh, I don't know about that. He dipped a bit of a wheel in the grass there, which did look like it was a bit of a scary moment trying to catch that Genesis, which has brought Midnight back into the fight here. He's potentially looking to eye up a move for that P5 position. I was just having a little bit look of a further up, obviously Dark Lord here. He's made some good progress. He's looking to try and catch up Fodder. And KD the Kai, he's really got those mediums into a sweet spot now. We can see obviously it took him a few laps to warm up, although picking up a half-second penalty, which he's just burnt there. But apart from that, he's got those mediums in a bit of a sweet spot at the moment. And don't think that penalty would have done him any justice to catching Charlie. But I'm sure that KD the Kai is now aware that Charlie's tyres are going to fall off of that cliff very soon.
I completely agree. Problem is around here, track limits are such an issue. You can easily pick up a second and a half in a lap, or half second every other lap, and it just adds up with such a long feature race around here, 47 laps. If you pick up a half second every other lap, that's going to lose you about 20, upwards of 20 seconds once you factor in the speed up and slow down. So the drivers have to keep within those yellow and white lines. It's an extra challenge.
Yeah, and especially obviously around some of the corners around this track, you really have to throw the car in. So you've got to kind of trust that the car is going to turn when you want it to and stay within the track limits. So especially around this corner here, coming up the hill, you see a lot of people swing out to the right, and unfortunately that's where a lot of people pick up those half-second penalties. But yeah, it's interesting to see obviously the drivers trying their best to stay within those white lines. Sometimes stepping over just a little bit, but for the majority of it, keeping it within there.
You have to hope that remains the case for the rest of the race. We do have
We've got a bit of a... I think we just spotted the same battle between them, P6, P7 and P8. Mac getting very close to that Lamborghini in front of him, going to the inside line. Although, is he going to go for the move? No, it doesn't look like he was going for it. I think he was trying to see what Pedro would do in front of him, but those three remaining very close.
Got Charlie in from P1 straight away, and yeah, that is... well, that's been 8 laps, Sarah. That is not much
Yeah.
time.
No, and obviously you can pretty much see from the rest of the grid, especially the guys on the mediums, that they're not falling off that performance cliff at the moment. They can still go for a while longer. So this potentially might drop Charlie quite far back, as we see him about to leave the pits now. And we've got Sitterly, who's just crossed the turn one. You've got Joe as well. Charlie is going to come out, it looks like, just in front of Iceman in P12.
Yeah, it's going to be close between those two as well, as Giles follows him through as well. Nigel has pitted earlier on. He's got off those medium tyres and gone to soft tyres and repaired the damage. But going back a little bit, Sarah, we did see Mac looking for that move on Pedro. It does look like that 458 is really struggling for straight line speed. It always gets alongside and has to duck back in for a second helping of slipstream, and then he's just not in the braking zone to make the move stick sometimes, particularly on against a very experienced driver like Pedro, who's just taken the racing line and he knows he can just hold it around the outside.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see a Pedro and Mac battle, because obviously they're both, like you say, they take the racing line. They're both, obviously, they can be very defensive in the way that they drive, and I think obviously the two, they share a lot of respect, and usually they share the same tarmac on track, so it's good to see how those two kind of go back and forwards. But obviously the two Italian cars trying to fight it out and try and get past that McLaren as well. Like I say, where Mac maybe potentially gets Pedro on the corners, Pedro in that Lamborghini definitely gets that Ferrari on the straight line.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Surprising though is Kirk still holding P4, but we did see in the sprint that the Genesis could hang with even like the GTR despite the tyre wear. So Kirk has clearly got some inherent speed around here, even if our own Dark Lord has made a gap from him. But it's great to see such a competitive lot. These lots so competitively close together. So it sets us up nicely for the rest of the race. I mean, at the moment, I cannot call who could finish where remotely, especially with Charlie doing a very aggressive strategy, who is now making his way past Joe.
Yeah, obviously he's got the benefit of the fresh tyres, the fresh mediums, although that Ford GT is breathing down his neck at the moment, and potentially is eyeing up a move here going into the chicane. Although it's that thing, do you fight it? Obviously fresh versus worn tyres, it's better just to sometimes let the people on the fresh tyres through, obviously not like hinder anyone's performance. But looking up a little bit further towards the front end of the grid again, Midnight has he's that gap to Kirk pretty level, but Pedro has managed to get a little bit closer to Midnight, and Mac is just going to bide in his time. He's dropped a little bit to Pedro as well, so Pedro putting Midnight under a little bit of pressure here, and I'm sure Kirk will be looking in his rearview mirrors, seeing that battle commence.
There is a famous meme from Harry Potter where it's one of the head teachers, I can't remember which one, that goes, "You free, it's always you free." That's kind of how I feel with this battle going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's always the Nighthawk admin. They're always getting these sort of battles.
It's good to see. Out front at the moment, Kai, he looks like he's settled into it. Fodder in P2, Dark Lord in P3. It does look like that McLaren Dark Lord has got better tyre wear than Fodder. He might start to reel him in at the end of the stint.
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, that Porsche is can be very harsh on its tyres and its fuel, when the McLaren is a bit more of a balanced car, an all-rounder. So potentially, Dark Lord knows this, maybe biding his time, not pushing it too much, so that he can make that strategy work. But obviously, Fodder as well doing an amazing job. He's eager to try and kind of seal that P2 in the championship. So if he can finish in that P2, he'll definitely pick himself up some valuable points going into the final couple of rounds. But it looks like, Mac having a little bit of a troublesome sector there coming out of that uphill chicane, and losing a little bit of time to Pedro and Midnight in front. Pedro drifting around that corner there. That looked very interesting indeed.
All too easy to do, as we do see Mercedes kick up a little bit of dirt as well. that grass, it's very old-fashioned kind of tracks there, isn't it? With the grass there, which is so much more of an issue than if you have tarmac runoff, because you can put dirt on your tyres, kick up a little bit of dirt, the driver behind you can't see, and you have no grip as well. So they have to be very, very careful. I do see Bertie doing exactly the same, but cutting the corner nicely, just touching the grass ever so slightly.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the old Danny Rick trick at Red Bull Ring. If you know, you know. Flicking up a little bit of dirt to their competitors. But yeah, obviously, like you say, the grass, obviously, as soon as you get on it, or if you get too much of the car on it, it does take the car with it. So I'm sure the drivers will be eager not to dip a wheel in the grass too many times around here, and like you say, pick up those dirty tyres. We've seen it from a few cars around here, but it's just so easy to do because it's literally white line and then grass.
Yeah, and then barrier.
Yeah, the perfect, well, probably not the perfect match for any of these drivers.
Well, it's a perfect match if you want to sell safer barriers. We'll just say that. At the moment, Mac still in P7, right behind Pedro. He must be getting frustrated at this point. Mac is as close as he's ever been. Pedro doesn't go defensive, goes for the racing line. Mac tucks up behind him, cuts to the inside, late on the brakes. Mac finally gets it done. Will he get it stopped in time? Yes, he does. Good professional driving from that pair. But Mac needed to get that move done because he was starting to suffer, sitting in the wash of that Huracan for so long. But it's not over. Mac always goes hyper defensive into a corner, cuts straight back, and then on the racing line and off he goes again. He always wants to break that time.
I was literally about to say that. We had the same idea that it was interesting to see McManley trying to break the toe there. Pedro was obviously, he knew that he was going to try and attempt that. Didn't obviously sway him to come off of the racing line. And like you say, Matt going super defensive. But I'm sure this battle between the two isn't over just yet. We're going to see them two going back and forwards. But I was just having a look a little bit further up. It looks like the dark rod is starting to reel in fodder just in front of him. Those two have got a little bit closer. And at the moment, everyone else still... See, Pedro's still tucked up behind that Ferrari in front. These three very close on track at the moment, and it looks like Mercedes obviously having a little bit more of a quieter feature race than sprint race that we saw earlier.
Oh, Pedro's coming back at Mac. Will he go for the move? Will he return the favour? Not this lap. Not this lap. Pedro looks like he's just playing a very reasonable race. He's just going to sit in the slipstream. He's not going to fight too hard. Maybe save a bit of fuel, save a bit of tyres. Very sensible.
Mac trying to break the toe as well.
Oh, Pedro went with him that time.
Yeah, it's that thing, maybe he has to kind of dip in and out of the toe a little bit just to see to remain within this battle. But like you say, obviously you know full well as well, in these early stages it is all about looking after your tyres and your fuel. So although that Lamborghini looked very sideways going into this section here, which has dropped him a little bit further back. But yeah, this part of the race is crucial, obviously, to set you up for your second stint. So like you say, it's that thing, do you fight too hard? Do you give the position up in the hope that you can make your strategy work, and it will bring you closer to them maybe in the second or the final stint?
That said about tyres, Sarah. Oh, Kirk, go for it.
Kirk very sideways coming out of there. Potentially, obviously, those mediums have seen much better days, and that allows Midnight to kind of sail past into that P4.
I was about to say, it looks like McLaren is starting to come good because the tyre wear for some of these cars, like Kirk probably running a bit wide, picking up that little bit of dirt. Mac! Oh, barely making the corner. Pedro back through. Undercut. Well, he's going to be happy about that.
He's going to be very happy. Maybe Mac won't be very happy about that, as we see Fodder coming into the pits off of those mediums. Picking up some fuel, picking up a fresh set of rubber as well. We see Dark Lord lapping Joe there, going into the uphill chicane bit. But yeah, Kirk has got past Midnight again, as we see. Pedro going very sideways, allowing Mac to bring it in again. Those two going very on the grass there. You can definitely tell some of the cars are starting to struggle with that tyre.
Yeah, I think that was a wide line from the McLaren into turn one. Kirk getting back past, and now Mac back through past Pedro. That's a... Yeah, I think you're right. I think Pedro was suffering with his tyre wear in that one, and Mac has got back through. All these 4 cars are starting to struggle. I was going to say on the previous lap, Dark Lord was about to smell, blood in the water with Fodder's tyres basically about to hit the canvas, and then he came into pit, so I didn't get a chance to say that. But Dark Lord's up to P2 at the moment. Kai going around for another lap. He's been there. He loves his P1, but he's still there. Dark Lord going through in P2. Kirk, will he start thinking about coming in this lap? Those tyres are looking very second-hand. Nope.
No, neither does Midnight Mac or Pedro.
And just off the back of these guys, in 7th is Mercedes, only 3 or 4 seconds behind. He's starting to look really good on those hard tyres. It looks like he will inherit the lead in a short amount of time.
Yeah, he's a fan of going on the hard tyres compared to everyone else. We've seen Mercedes use those hard tyres quite a lot, and obviously sometimes playing into his favour, sometimes not. But it looks like it definitely could play into his favour now, as he's, like you say, not too far away from this battle for P4 downwards at the moment. Oh, although Mac going very wide there. Oh, and he's on the grass, he's facing sideways, he's hopping across the grass, but he's back on track now.
Oh, that looked like there almost, or perhaps was, contact between himself and Mac as Pedro and Mac as Mac came back onto the track. I was about to bring up when we were in high speed ring recently, that Ferrari and those rear tyres looked like an absolute handful for Mac. Well, I didn't even have to say it, he proved it. When those rear tyres go.
Coming into the pits here.
Yeah, there he goes. Dark Lord will
Dark Lord follow?
Nope, he does not. Kai pits, Dark Lord inherits the lead, Sarah.
Interestingly enough, Kirk decides to go for another lap. So does Midnight. Pedro, oh, that might be a penalty crossing the pit lane there, as it did look, he's going very sideways, but Mac following him in, and Mercedes will inherit that P5, still on the hard tyres. He can go for a few more laps, but yeah, interesting.
We have seen previously, Sarah, in this track, an overcut is a really, really handy thing. That fresh rubber doesn't always help. So you go a little bit longer, it means you have fresher tyres towards the end, so staying out longer can really help. Unless they can just really hook up the fresh tyres this time round. It's a different year, it's a different race, but you can learn from the history of this track. We're only here recently. But that said, Kirk, I think he needs to learn to get some new tyres.
And I was just obviously going to raise the point that we can see that the sun has gone down. It is starting to get dark. So obviously, like you say, the warm-up on the fresh tyres is going to be a little bit less than what we saw earlier with the colder temperatures.
Quite right. In P5, Sarah, Bertie, still circulating in that McLaren. Looks
He's
like
our tyre whisperer, he is.
He is. But he's got Charlie for company, who has almost closed a whole pit stop on Bertie. But that said, Kirk is in. But that said, Charlie, he hasn't got that much fresher tyres than Bertie. It really shows how good Bertie has been on those medium tyres. But again, different strategies. They will cross over at some point. I think we're going to start to see that now with Charlie.
Yeah, obviously I think Charlie may be playing the longer game, going for the very fast start, and then obviously maybe potentially going for a couple of medium stops, where I think we'll see the drivers around him go for the opposite, where they go mediums to then soft towards the end, which obviously might be to Charlie's detriment, but if he can keep with the pack, and like you say, obviously not drop too much time from them, then it will still hopefully put him in a good position, which might have to be a bit defensive come the end of the race when everyone might be on the softs. As
a heads up, Kai has gone to the medium tyre, so did Fodder, so did McManley, and we've still got Iceman circulating on those hard tyres as well. But Kirk, he did pick up a 3-second penalty and entering or exiting the pit lane. It's such a kick in the teeth around here. It must lose you 5 seconds.
Yeah, and it looks like Pedro has dropped quite far back from McManley as well. I wonder what happened there.
Well, I would imagine it's got to be fuel.
Potentially. Maybe Mac looking after a fuel a little bit better. Iceman here is obviously the two Genesises fighting it out. That's quite hard to say, but Kirk obviously maybe on the fresher tyres wants to get this move done and dusted. Although obviously, like you say, taking that 3 seconds, will that drop him behind Pedro? Pedro's coming through. Obviously he's going a lot faster, and yeah, that Lamborghini sails through. Probably not the most ideal penalty to pick up. Kirk on the super offensive there, trying to get the move back on Pedro, but I think obviously he'll be infuriated by that 3-second penalty he got there.
Quite right, and especially since that has dropped him below Pedro, and Pedro is on the hard tyres, so Kurt's going to have to get this move done quickly. But just to bring everyone's attention to it, we do have a very different set of circumstances up front. We have drivers going for very different strategies at the moment. The McLarens have gone split strategy, one to the soft, the other to the medium. So we have some in these feature races you have to go to 2 different sets of compounds. Dark Lord still has to go to a different set for the end of the race, but I'd imagine that's just soft at the end for him. But interesting strategy so far, so we're seeing quite a deviation from a lot of drivers.
Yeah, and obviously Mercedes, obviously he's not come in yet. He's obviously trying to use as much as he can of those hard tyres that he started on, and obviously that promotes him into that P1 position at the moment. Charlie, after that early stop, he's in P2 now with about half of the life left on those mediums, so he's looking good at the moment. Katie Dekai in that P3 position.
Kirk making the move for P8, trying to get back past Pedro on the brakes. Yeah, that was always happening. That Genesis in straight line, so is so quick, isn't it? And then that option rubber in comparison to the hards Pedro, yeah, he was always going like that.
Yeah, although it looked like Pedro probably didn't want Kirk to make the move there and then. I'm sure Pedro would have appreciated if Kirk could have waited a little bit longer, but trying to tell a driver to wait is pretty hard.
Quite agree. I can hear it now. Not here, not here, not here, not here. But at the end of the day, good move from Kirk there. Right.
Yeah, and obviously, I was just having a little look at everyone else that we may have not mentioned in a while. Italy in that P10 at the moment, obviously having a little bit of a tough time with the Lexus around here. And Joe, we've got in P12. Giles in P13, and then Nigel obviously after that on very unfortunate start in P14 with Iceman in P15. So those guys probably not having the most amazing trip to Road Atlanta, but it's good to see him still going and picking up some valuable points.
Quite right. So Charlie has re-inherited the lead, and that car does look glorious when it backfires, when you get the exhaust coming out of the front pipes there, especially in this light. Charlie up to P1 again, Kai up to P2. Mercedes does make his first stop. I wonder what tyres he's going to go to.
Yeah, it's going to drop him a little bit further back than what he probably wanted. He's just going to come out just behind, well, just side by side with Pedro actually. Ooh. But just behind Pedro. That was close between the two there. I'm sure Pedro was probably screaming as he saw Mercedes leave the pits there, because when you leave the pits, obviously you're a little bit blind to the cars around you. You can't quite fully see who and what cars are going through. So good, obviously navigating that between the two there. Although that has obviously that puts Mercedes in a great position here. He can get in that slipstream of that Lamborghini and potentially eye up a move on Pedro.
And on the medium tyre as well against the hard, so Mercedes with the advantage.
Yeah, I could only imagine obviously Pedro maybe seeing that Mercedes was on the hards and wanted to try and replicate that, staying out for as long as he can. Obviously in this middle stint at the moment where the majority of everyone is on the mediums, I don't think it's going to do Pedro any favours.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. He's playing the long game, so as we know with the hard tyres, the initial start-up, like you say, particularly at night, it's going to be more difficult to warm up the tyres, but once they're warm and the tyre wear kicks in for the mediums, maybe that hard will come good, but we're going to have to wait and see. It worked for Mercedes in the first stint, but has Pedro missed that window? We will have to wait and find out. Or as Aidan Millward says, answers on the postcard.
I can only imagine that Pedro is going to try his best to stay with Mercedes here and kind of hope that Mercedes will drag him along in that tow, and he can stay with the people in front of him.
That would be the logical thing to do, but you see how quickly Kirk has got away from him. We do know Kirk in that Genesis is very, very quick around here. This track really does bring up some surprises. The cars which you think might be a bit deficient on the old tyre wear, it doesn't kick you quite as hard, and it really brings... It changes the order up a bit, so it's always entertaining to see.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's good for racing as well, and obviously everyone picking the slightly different strategies, because you never know, and it makes our job a lot harder to kind of predict who's on the podium or who's going to win, because you can never call it. It's always too early to call it, because everyone has some different ideas of what they're going to go for. And
here's an interesting scenario, Sarah. We do have Charlie, who is bearing down on Joe in P13. Charlie with basically dead medium tyres, so he must be on a minimum of a free stop here today. He's not really ever going to catch Joe, is he? Not with those dead tyres, and we'll put it this way, Charlie's not going to go around for another lap on that fuel either. So those blue flags would be waving for Joe for little to no reason in this one.
I was going to say, unless Charlie's got a some fuel in the boot that you can put in that BMW, he can't go for another lap. So I'm sure Joe will be very pleased that he didn't have to kind of move out of the way for Charlie there.
Yep, well there you go. Race leader is into the pits. Kai with half a tank of fuel, so he clearly picked up some fuel at last pit stop. Takes the lead. And Fodder will come round the final corner into P2. Well, it's going to start settling down now, so now we've got the first stops out of the way, or the second stop for Charlie. Have to wait and see, wait for the action to build again a little bit.
Yeah, while we wait, we have got a little bit of a battle for P10 between Bertie and Sidley here. Bertie has been getting closer and closer to Sidley within the last couple of laps. Bertie obviously on the fresher mediums at the moment, so providing him with a little bit of traction over the curves of that chicane. That Lexus getting a little bit sideways through there, but it'd be good to see those two having a little bit of a battle in the next few laps. And yeah, like I say, obviously Joe may be having a little bit more of a difficult time with that Ford GT around here, but still doing his best. And I can only imagine Nigel obviously might be kicking himself a little bit for that jump start right at the beginning, but we all know how good Nigel is. So maybe Road Atlanta was just not his round, but he'll come back, ready for Grand Valley.
It's worth saying, Sarah, that the jump start is so incredibly easy to do. You only have to miss your pedal, miss your handbrake, and if the angle of the tarmac isn't exactly neutral, if you've got a little bit of an incline or a decline, the car starts rolling, and you pick up a penalty, even if you're rolling backwards. So it's all too easy to do. And we see that in Formula 1 and other formulae quite often. It's just a shame it's come back and bit him on this one, and then unfortunately that ended up with damage. And I have to say, for myself, it happened to me at this exact track the previous season, so I do feel his pain.
Yeah. Bringing up bad memories for you.
Certainly does.
But yeah, it's so easy to do. Like you say, obviously some technical difficulties, or sometimes you're so eager for the start of the race that you might accidentally, like you say, flip the throttle just a little bit. But it's so easy to do, and I'm sure, obviously, like I say, Nigel, he's trying his best in that P14 spot at the moment. But yeah. Let's see him hopefully back for Grand Valley and be able to fight for a little bit of higher positions. But as we see, talking about higher positions, Mercedes has got a lot closer to Kirk. So those mediums are definitely liking the track at the moment in that GTR.
And Mercedes looking quick, especially after his sprint win. He looks like he wants that Genesis. He wants to get past the Genesis like he did in the sprint as well. Yeah,
and obviously it was good that Mercedes overtook the Genesis in the sprint, because it in Mercedes' heads now. He kind of knows Kirk's tactics of where he's going to place the car. So it's good, obviously, practicing the sprint race, and I'm sure he'll be trying to kind of work out where Kirk is going to place that Genesis so he can make a sneaky move into P6.
And there are a few mods in this championship, like we say, Coach and Druid particularly, very hard to pass. Sophia, another one. Kirk is no slouch. He will make it difficult in a very reasonable manner. We will always say he's overtaken Lee something to be desired sometimes, as we've been on the receiving end. But his defensive skills are right there with the best of them. So good luck, Mercedes.
Yeah, and like you say, Kirk is definitely not going to make Mercedes' life easier. But talking about a little bit further back to Pedro, unfortunately those hard tyres, he's not been able to keep with that GTR of Mercedes at the moment. And we do see Charlie, who's about, I'd say, maybe a corner and a half behind, obviously on the fresher mediums now. So I'm sure he'll be eager to try and get up behind that Lamborghini of Pedro. Yeah,
Charlie about 3 seconds behind. And these two have beef here from the previous season of the sprint race where Charlie held off Pedro for the entirety of that sprint. Pedro never forgot that one, but you always remember the ones that you were so close to, and for good reason. But out front, it's settled down, Sarah. Kai looks like he's in the zone, isn't he? He's showing us why he's highly ranked in the world. Taking that GTR, hitting every apex, not missing any braking point, and taking that GTR in P1, ran the circuit beautifully.
Yeah, in his favourite position. And it makes it look easy. He's always smooth, and although obviously the sprint race may be more of a bit of a difficult time for him, he's definitely shown in the feature race that as soon as he gets into that P1, it's very hard to take it off of him.
I have to say, these cars look glorious at night. Props to the 4GT department as well, but keeping an eye on Kirk and Mercedes. That beautiful livery from Kirk looks amazing from Mercedes, but Mercedes can't get past. The straight line speed of that car is just too high.
No, he's tucking in behind Kirk. Yeah. Oh, Kirk going very sideways there. That might have opened the door for Mercedes there, although he's on the outside line. Is he going to try and look for the switchback? He looked for it but can't get it because, like you say, that speed of that Genesis is quite high. As you see, Midnight into the pits as well. He was running in P3 before that pit stop.
What can I say but alternative strategy?
Yeah, sometimes they work for you, sometimes they don't. We'll see what happens a little bit later into the race. But I think the closest battle we have on track at the moment is that Kirk and Mercedes battle.
So if you're a Mercedes at the moment, Sarah, what would you be looking for to get past Kirk? A mistake or some sort of a controlled dive bomb, or a bit of both?
Bit of both. I'd say maybe obviously Mercedes might have to create a few opportunities here by maybe but looking maybe to either the inside or the outside, maybe trying to force Kirk into a bit of a mistake. And sometimes when you create those opportunities, even just by giving a little peek to the alternative line, that will force the driver in front to maybe brake a little bit later, not turn in as much. So I'd say obviously Mercedes will be eager to try and create those opportunities soon and maybe put Kirk under a little bit of pressure. Again, obviously he goes to the outside line, maybe trying to force Kirk to come with him, but Kirk remained on the racing line at the moment.
So, Sarah, at this point, we're on the 30th lap. I think we're getting into that area where some drivers are going to be looking at the medium and the hard tyres and thinking, ooh, final stop to the end maybe. But other drivers, we've got drivers like Charlie who are going to be thinking, I've got another 3 or 4 stops on soft tyres to go. But what did you spot there?
Mercedes looked like he was going to try and go through the outside of Kirk there in the chicane, or the S's, however you call it, and kind of caused a little bit of disturbance between the two, but the two have remained very close, although both of them went wide throughout that section. But yeah, like you say, obviously 17 2-ish laps left to go. I think I did spot Midnight come into the pits a lap ago, and he's got a fresh set of mediums on. So potentially that's him eyeing up, obviously, that to the end. I think he's capable of doing those 17 laps on those mediums. Have to look after them, but we'll see if he can, as it looks like Kirk and Mercedes are battling through the chicane again. Mercedes is really trying to create those opportunities that we were talking about a few laps ago.
Yeah, and then Pedro's now got Charlie for company as well, so a couple of dicing moves going on around the track, but Fodder has come in as well. I think he is going to be on that bubble as well, thinking he's going to be going to the end.
Oh no!
Is that Mercedes off?
That was Mercedes off. No damage, thankfully. Just a little bit of grass cutting. He's doing a bit of a ziggy there, but obviously that has dropped him quite far off the back of the bumper of that Genesis.
How dare he imitate our ziggy, our high-speed gardener, the Bottas, as is otherwise known. Right. Bertie up to P8. Fodder has come out on, surprisingly, hard tyres, but that will be easily going to the end. But as we do know, he had slightly higher tyre wear than the McLarens around him in the sprint race, so maybe he's just playing it safe, but he is going to be having a McLaren for company. But if anyone's going to have the speed to hold off a McLaren, it will be Fodder. But up in front, Sarah, Charlie and Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro looks like he's really struggling on those hard tyres at the moment compared to the more fresh tyres of Charlie on the mediums, as Charlie was able to brake a little bit later and still get that BMW out in front of the Lamborghini.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Pedro's tyres are older and a compound harder as well, so that was difficult for him. Kirk in, that's surprising. Well, he must be thinking he needs to go for a different compound. He's only been on medium so far. That must be hard tyres to the end, just like Fodder.
I was going to say surely, because you definitely wouldn't get soft tyres for 17 laps.
Oh, I'm going to place a bet. I think Mercedes is going to be going a lot longer and going for soft tyres towards the end. Hard, medium and softs. Interestingly, Kirk is only going for half a tank of fuel. Is that a mistake? No.
And on softs.
Ooh, so he's going for a counter strategy now, but he's come out right behind Fodder, and he's going to be soft tyres versus hard tyres. That's going to be upsetting the apple cart a bit. Keep an eye on that one, Sarah.
Yeah, aggressive stint, obviously incoming from Kirk, where he's going to know he's going to have to pit again, so he's going to have to make this first, obviously, set of softs work for him.
Interesting, and he's got a former teammate for company.
He has indeed. Obviously, he's got Midnight quite close behind, maybe a corner or so behind at the moment, but he's breathing down the neck of that 911 at the moment, who it looks like there's a back marker of Giles just in front of this little pack.
Kirk is moving rapid style. He's going to be on the back of Fodder. These two gentlemen, friends inside and outside of GT7, but there's no love lost in GT7 in the championship. Fodder taking a defensive line, forcing Kirk to hold on for another lap.
Yeah, obviously good from Kirk there not to kind of dive bomb Fodder going into that chicane.
Oh, that was a little bit mistimed from Kirk. Definitely a little bit of contact with Fodder. Oh, intercept one. No. Oh, let's put Fodder in the wall. Oh, there's going to be words after this race.
Yeah, well, you were just talking about them being friends, right?
The insult to injury, Kirk picks up a half-second penalty. Ouch.
Yeah.
Former friends are now P8 and P10.
Yeah, and obviously not what we like to see, obviously two friends coming together, but I'm sure there'll be some choice words afterwards and maybe an apology from Kirk there. But obviously sometimes when you are on a different strategy, you're on the softs, you want to make obviously moves done quickly. Sometimes I'd say obviously you get clouded vision a little bit, and I think Kirk maybe had a little bit of clouded vision there, potentially thought Fodder was letting him through when obviously Fodder was just trying to make the racing line work.
Pedro has abandoned those hard tyres. He's had enough of them, Sarah. And do you know what? I don't blame him. He must be going back to the medium. I mean, he could have gone longer and gone to the soft, but I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, like you've mentioned to me before, some cars prefer the balance of certain tyres, and I don't think that Lamborghini suits the hard tyres very well.
And Kirk did lose another position thanks to that half-second penalty. Hopefully he'll keep his head together and then refocus. And nearly refocus on the back of McLaren there. But he gets that move done. That was interesting. Right into turn 2. Oh, Kai into the pits. Doing his final stop. Will he go for soft tyres or another? He can't go to soft tyres, can he?
Surely not.
I don't think.
But interestingly enough, obviously Kai coming into the pits now, and you see the likes of Kirk, Midnight, and Fodder just finishing the first sector. So Kai really put it in a stint there.
I do find with this track that the pit stops, and I think that was Sidley waving through.
Oh yeah.
Looks like he's struggling today. He's got massive damage there. He's been off somewhere in sector 1.
Yeah, big engine damage for that Lexus. Not something that we see very often. So unfortunately, I think maybe a few contacts with the wall. A very heavy one by the looks of it.
Agreed. Anywho, I'll finish my point. This track being a little bit on the shorter side, only just over 80 seconds long, under 80 seconds in qualifying, does mean when you take a pit stop and the exit being so long, Iceman. Oh, sorry. Do you know what? I'm gonna finish this point, then come back to that. The pit lane here is so long, you can end up almost a lap down after a pit stop. But Iceman had big damage too. So was that coming together with Italy, perhaps, or two separate incidents? We don't know. We do not know. But one thing we do know is the Dark Lord, our Season 4 champion in the McLaren this season, is in P1, and he's gonna be going a few laps longer and going to that soft tyre, see if he can chase down Kai towards the end. Mercedes looks like he's doing the same, but he is quite a few seconds behind, but that is no disservice to him. He's had some great speed today and come from some great battles. Currently sitting in P2, but with Charlie on that very, very different aggressive strategy right behind him in P3. And Kai in P4. Looks like he is now into sector 1 up to the S's, not too far behind. Kai went for the hard tyres.
Interesting.
Perhaps he knew that he could not get the soft tyre to the end from where he was. So to keep legal in the race, he's gone for a set of hards, and he's not going to coast to home. Let's face it, we know that. But he's not going to be pushing himself too hard to get home. Interesting.
Yeah, and obviously that might put the Dark Lord into, I'd say he could maybe go for a lap or so more. That might put Dark Lord in a good position to go on a set of softs towards the end. Although, thinking about it, obviously we only saw Charlie go for the softs earlier and only manage about 8 laps. So we've still got 11 laps left to go. So I think some of the drivers that want to go on the softs towards the end are cutting it a little bit fine. And potentially, if they do go on, we'll have to look after them very well.
Kirk
as Mercedes, it looks like he's signalling to go into the pits, which lets Charlie through into that P3 position. That
was very good of Mercedes to indicate, because that pit lane is very, very difficult. But Kirk is right on the back of Bertie. McLaren versus Genesis. We've seen this before today. Little bit of contact, nothing untoward. But Kirk down the outside on those soft tyres, getting past Bertie's aged mediums. Now, if I were Bertie, I would be thinking, pit now and get an undercut on Kirk. Go for those soft tyres. Because both these drivers have got to stop again, surely.
And if anyone can look after those soft tyres, it's definitely Bertie.
Quite right. 11 laps will be tricky, but not impossible.
No, and I'm sure, obviously, Midnight will be eager to get past these two. Obviously, might not be able to get past with speed with Kirk, but obviously Kirk being on the soft tyres, I think Midnight on the mediums can definitely get in there. So if we can keep with Bertie and Kirk here, that'll put Midnight into a good position, as it looks like the two McLarens are about to have a little bit of a tussle coming here. They go side by side. Bertie a little bit further ahead at the moment. Midnight eager to go up the inside. He goes up to the inside. Bertie taking the P6 position and allows Midnight to go and chase after Kirk.
And we do have our current race leader, Dark Lord, in. Clearly going to be going for soft tyres. Charlie comes through. start another lap before he thinks about his final stop. And that is going to put... Is that going to put Dartlord out ahead of Kai? No, Kai's going into the first corner. No.
Yeah.
Kai's going...
Close, though.
Yes, and then Dartlord will be coming out just behind him on fresh soft tyres compared to hard. So that's going to be interesting. Kirk, though, pushing far too hard in the final sector. Picks himself up a second penalty. He's got such skill and such speed. Just occasionally pushes that just that little bit too hard and picks up those penalties that we spoke about earlier on. Bertie in P8 has now pitted. He is going for that undercut. I think there's a race there between Kirk and Bertie. Do you think so?
Potentially, and there might be a little bit of a fight upcoming between McManley and Midnight here. Mac having a little bit of a more quieter second stint, and obviously now he's on to his third and final stint. He's definitely heated it up a little bit, and he's on the hard tyres, but they do look a little bit more in a bit more of a healthier state compared to Mac. Mac flashing Midnight a little bit. Maybe, I don't know if that's by mistake or just to show Midnight that he's there and he's ready to have a little bit of a fight between the two. Looks like Pedro's trying to overtake Nigel here. Nigel obviously being shown the blue flags. I'm sure Pedro will be waving to him, saying, "Can I get past you, please?" As we see, Mercedes is about to breathe down Pedro's neck very shortly. Yeah, as we see, obviously Bertie's come out in P10. He's just going through the first S's, and it will be interesting to see if Kirk decides to go a couple of laps more, or if he's going to come into the pits.
Well, he just served a 2.5 penalty, and it lost him 2 positions. It's put him right back into his old mate Fodder. So Kirk has clearly got to pit this lap, keep within those yellow lines. He will do. That's going to be his final pit stop. And that's going to be a battle, I think, between him and Bertie once all things shake themselves out.
Oh, Nigel still hasn't moved out of the way yet. Oh, he gets right in front of Pedro. Pedro is trying to overtake. Obviously, Nigel being a lap down is not putting Pedro in the best of positions here.
Yeah, I can only feel that would be one for the stewards, who will be thinking, Sebastian Vettel, blue flag, blue flag, blue flag. As we do see, yeah, Pedro is starting to get frustrated. He's going to have to be careful not to pick himself off a penalty, for that was almost a push to pass. But you can understand the frustration there, can't you?
Oh, 100%, yeah. It's that thing that, do you give him a little love tap just to show that there is a car behind trying to overtake? But yeah, obviously Pedro having to maybe sit behind, be a bit more patient, and obviously that has put him in a little bit more of a compromising position with Mercedes. As Mercedes definitely on the charge here, looking to try and get that P7 off of Pedro. But I think a little bit further back, it looks like obviously Iceman and Sicily have been separated now. I'm still intrigued to see how they both picked up engine damage. Was it a mistake by one of them?
Could be. Keep an eye on the battle for what is currently P2. Kai was at one end of the S's on those hard tyres, and Dartlord at the other end of the S's on the soft tyres. But it's going to be tricky for even the Dartlord to catch. Well, it's champion versus champion for that battle there. But Kai looks like his tyres are, although slower, they're going to age much, much better than Dartlord's tyres. But there are a few battles for what is currently P4 between the McLaren and Mac, and Pedro against the Mercedes. But Fodder is going to be at risk, I feel, from Pedro and Mercedes, because he's still carrying quite significant front end and suspension damage from that incident with Kirk earlier on. And it does look like we have lost, through retirement, we have lost Kirk. Oh, spin from Joe at the end of, I think that is turn 1 for the S's. It looks like he has touched the grass and come around before turn 1. And battles going along all over the place. Charlie has now served his final stop. That's got to be soft tyres. Him coming out into turn 1. Will it be out behind the battle for what is P now for P3? I think it will be. And it's going to be a very, very fast M6 right behind the Ferrari and the McLaren.
Yeah, it looks like Mac tried to force Midnight into a little bit of a mistake there. Maybe overshot the chicane, which has allowed Midnight to make a little bit of a break for it at the moment. And yeah, like I say, Charlie being on the fresher tyres for what will be the final 6 laps, so he's put himself in a good position.
Certainly has. I can only think that strategy, the extra stop or two, although it's been fun and he's got the fastest lap at the moment, it hasn't entirely worked. He started on pole. He's currently running in 5th behind 2 drivers that are fighting tooth and nail for P3. Otherwise, I'm going to keep an eye on Fodder, who is going down the back straight. He's not far behind this battle for P3, 4 and 5. But behind him, just down the road, a couple of 100 metres, is Pedro and Mercedes, who are now rapidly coming down that back straight. But yes, we have lost Kirk through retirement, Bertie in P9, Giles in P10, Nigel soldiering on in P11. We'll have to be careful with any further blue flags. Sitley in P12 after an incident earlier on. Joe in P13 just recovering from a spin, letting the Dark Lord through. And Iceman in P14 now on soft tyres. Well, Sarah, it's been busy on this race, but we're still not over. Pedro and Mercedes still at it.
Yeah, it looks like Pedro went on the grass a little bit there, and Mercedes potentially tried to eye up a move, but Pedro obviously still in front, making Mercedes' life a little bit more difficult. But I think this will be a battle that will go down to the last lap.
Yeah, and Pedro is someone who's very difficult to scare off the track, but one thing I would be scared about is a McManley in the Ferrari on old hard tyres against a Charlie in a BMW with fresh new soft tyres, and yeah, Charlie makes that one quite easy in the end. That said, Matt coming back at him into the braking zone, but Charlie with that superior grip gets the traction down a bit easier. Then again, Matt hasn't read the script and he's still coming back at Charlie into the final corner. Oi! Little bit of a drift. He's still going to carry on into turn 1. Will Mac yield? I think he finally has to.
Oh, Sitley is coming out of the pits right in between these cars.
He didn't want to be there, did he?
No, he got out of the way very quickly. But obviously Mac losing a position there. But Charlie looks like he's about to be on the bumper of that McLaren of Midnight.
Yeah, those fresh soft tyres are going to be rapid at this point.
Yeah, maybe Charlie won't finish as high as what he probably wanted to, obviously starting on pole. But he's managed to make that unique strategy work to some degree.
Yeah, and he was feigning a move down the inside there, but it hasn't worked. But that said, does that BMW have the power to do it down the straight and down the outside? We will see, sir.
Yeah, as he looks like he's going to the inside line here, which will be the outside of the first chicane. Midnight being defensive on the inside. Both breaking. Oh, Charlie got a little bit of a whack from Mac there. I think that'll be one for the stewards afterwards as Mac gets through again.
A whack from Mac. Yeah, that did happen. A little bit further back, Fodder is still desperately trying to hang on in P6. And it looks like Mercedes has somewhere got ahead of Pedro, but now Mercedes will be zeroing in on the current P2 championship gentleman. So, well, it's still all happening. Kai up front looks like he's nice and happy there. Darlow will have to give up the fight for victory on this occasion, but P3, 4, 5 all the way down to P8 is not settled. Charlie coming back at Mac.
Obviously, I think Charlie will be a little bit rolled up as he thought that P4 was done and dusted, but Mac obviously having a whack Charlie out of the way, and obviously Charlie getting back through, elbows out there with Mac and getting that P4, and is eager to chase after the McLaren again.
Here we go again though, Mac coming back. That Ferrari is good in the slipstream, but this time Mac is going to have to go the long way round.
Yeah, good driving from those two. Mac having to yield the second chicane a little bit, but like you say, obviously Charlie on the fresh softs, it is quite hard to keep with that BMW at the moment.
Yeah, I think though Charlie might now have just about broken away from Matt. He's going to have to hope there's enough life left in that soft tyre for the next 2 or 3 laps. It should be fine, but he's definitely pushing it very, very hard. Now Fodder looks like he's going to fall victim to Giles, who possibly unlap himself, but right behind him, Mercedes in P7 and Pedro in P8 chasing him down very rapidly. It looks like his head going off all over the circuit, Sarah, with only 3 laps to go. So, Sarah, as we enter these last few laps, we're going to have some real good battles going on. Charlie has got away for P3. Does look like he has now secured that podium position, but 4th is not completely decided yet. And in fact, Mack looks like he is still challenging. Fodder looks like he might just hold on to 6th, but then again, Mercedes and Pedro are still coming at him rapidly. Ooh, this is going to be a tight finish, I feel.
Yeah, and the grid is not separated by much, especially obviously a 3rd, 4th and 5th. Like you say, obviously Fodder maybe a little bit slightly out of position due to the incident that we saw earlier, but it's good to see him still going. And obviously I think Pedro and Mercedes, if Pedro can stay with him, he might be able to try and challenge for that P7 again. But yeah, it's good to see obviously everyone very close, especially in these obviously closing stages of the race. I was just having a look. I don't think obviously that buffer that Kaylee Decay had earlier, that's put him in a great position, because even though he's on the hards, Dark Rod has not been able to catch him.
Yeah, exactly that. And Dark Rod's been close enough that Kai couldn't afford to go for either a double stop to Tufts or a sneaky stop to steal the fastest lap back. So that looks like that is what will remain Charlie's, which is going to be 3 points. And it looks like we are going to be seeing a battle for 4th. Mack is looking racy, and Fodder also just a couple of corners behind. Yeah, now has Mercedes and Pedro for company too. So lots going on, as I think Kai has in fact started his final lap.
He has indeed, and obviously what a race that Kai has had. Obviously a slightly different strategy, especially obviously with 10 laps to go going on the hard tyres, but obviously a smart choice, because maybe the soft runner tyres, maybe regretting it a little bit as obviously this track around here, like I said earlier, you have to throw your car into some of these corners, so maybe the hards proving the better tyre to obviously provide you with a few extra laps. But looks like Mack is getting ever so closer to that rear of that McLaren. Can he do a final lap move? We shall keep on board with him to see if he can get that move done and dusted. It's good to see obviously these two battling this close towards the end as well.
It's always good to see, isn't it? But Kai out front, 2 corners to go. He's safe now. He's going to be securing another F1 RST victory, and in the red lobby as he comes around the final corner to take that checker flag. 47 laps. Great showing from Kai. And Dark Lord will be doing the same to take P2, but a little bit further back we do have Charlie, who is securing P4, and we do see a move from Mack for P4.
Yeah, the two are going side by side here on the little bit of a straight that we've got heading into the downhill section towards the chicane. Still going side by side. Midnight on the inside, Mack on the outside. Mack braking a little bit later. Midnight still on the defensive. All the two coming together, potentially forcing Midnight out a little bit wider, but Mack being able to get on that power a little bit earlier. That promotes Mack into that P4 position, and Midnight unfortunately losing that battle into P5 on the last corner.
Mercedes getting past Fodder into the final chicane as well. 2 moves on the final lap. Mercedes up to P6, followed down to P7, Pedro P8, Italy finishing P13. 2 moves on the final lap. We don't see that all the time, Sarah.
No, and it goes to show obviously even with the different strategies, it brought everyone back closer towards each other, which again, like we said earlier, I think this track is good for it, especially obviously in the different circumstances that we've seen throughout the race. People going on the hard tyres, soft tyres, medium tyres. It's brought everyone back, as we see Bertie crossing the line in P9. So Bertie was the last runner on the lead lap in P9, and then in P10 we have Giles finishing a lap down, but obviously after that first lap damage that he got from hitting the back of Nigel, I'm sure he'll be happy with a P10. Talking about Nigel, he's come home in P11, also a lap down. Joe P12, 2 laps down. Sitterly and Iceman finishing in P13 and 14 respectively, both a couple of laps down, obviously after the big engine damage that we saw from the both of them. Don't see that very often on one car, let alone two. And then unfortunately, obviously a DNF from Kirk.
And with the stewarding inquiries post-race, we have seen Nigel pick up a 10-second penalty. Won't affect his position, and a penalty point or two, I believe, for blue flag infringement, which we did see during the race. But it is so hard around a track like this, where it is constant, non-stop action. It's so easy to be absorbed into your own race, but it's something to learn from at very least. And Kirk also picked up some penalty points and a 5-second penalty for that incident with Fodder. I have to say, we did expect that one. That move into turn one, a little bit ill-advised, and it happens. I mean, you can see after that his race kind of went away a little bit there, Sarah, didn't it? It just didn't work out for him. Once you lose your focus, it becomes very, very difficult, and eventually retiring the car, choosing to do it. But sometimes it's best to walk away and come back later on stronger for the next round. But what do we say? I mean, another great victory there from Kai. Only 8.9 seconds ahead of Dark Lord. So the two previous champions for Season 3, Season 4, respectively, P1, P2, with Charlie in P3. So good race all around there. And like we said, there was positions moving all the way to the final two corners.
Yeah, which was obviously great to see, and I'm sure like Charlie would be very happy starting on the softs, and I think that quick getaway put him in a great position to finish on the podium. And like I say, obviously, the rest of the podium kind of filled out by our two champions, so just goes to show why they are our champions. I think that kind of leads us perfectly on to who we would choose for driver of the day.
Well, do you know what? I will get to that one. I will just say disappointment for the day, and that would be for him, because he's highly competitive, will be for Fodder, who was, I think, clearly on for challenging at least for P4, maybe even P3. So unlucky for him there. Unlucky for the Englishman. Yeah, driver of the day. Now that's a tricky one. I mean, Mac from the back and gave a few people a whack as well, but he started P15. So he did very, very well to come into P4. Mercedes did a great stint on that hard tyre from the start as well, but it didn't quite work out. He was always in traffic, which didn't work out well for him. And another good drive was Dark Lord, who, again, P2, you can't argue with that. Charlie, a great strategy for P3, or an interesting strategy, at the very least. But Kai, what can we say? He was he's basically faultless, really, wasn't he? So I think that's probably driver of the day for Kai from my perspective. Sarah, what do you think?
Oh, definitely a good shout. It's quite hard to choose. Obviously, all the drivers I think have had their fair share of good moments, especially across the two sessions. Oh, it's a hard choice. I might be swaying a little bit more towards Charlie, obviously coming home with a P4 in the sprint, but then a P3 in the feature race. I think that's obviously a good round for him, finishing not too far off of the podium in the sprint race, and setting himself up nicely, especially with that pole lap that he's dying to get on those soft tyres.
Very true.
But apart from that, obviously, like you say, Mac is a good shout as well from starting at the back. And what I've learned is a lot of things rhyme with Mac, especially after this commentary. But apart from that, I've got to say Mercedes as well. Obviously, maybe wanted to finish a little bit higher up in the feature race. But I'd say for me, it's got to be Charlie for this round.
That makes a lot of sense. He did have the fastest lap and the pole lap, and as you say, P4 in the sprint as well. So he has, I think he's probably picked up the most points, if not very close to the most amount of points in this event. So he has something to be very, very proud for in himself. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to convert. I am going to give it to Charlie on that one, because Kai, despite a very brave fight, finished P7 in the sprint. So I'm going to, do you know what? I'm going to go with you on that one. I think Charlie for driver of the event. And one interesting little fact is we didn't have any repeat podium drivers between the sprint and the feature. That's very rare, Sarah. It does show this track really does throw up some interesting results.
Yeah, and it was a bit unusual not to see KD the Kai on the sprint race podium as well. Normally we see him fighting his way through the pack, but just unfortunately in the sprint race around Road Atlanta he wasn't able to. So it was good to see some different faces on the podium.
Quite right, and we have to say this lobby has been full of quite a lot of very tough drivers, such as Mercedes, Kirk, Pedro, Charlie, Mac and Fodder, just to name 6 of them. There are more in there too. But what can we say? It's been a great event at Road Atlanta for the red and the blue lobby from what we've seen. I think we should come back here again. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I might be a bit biased. It's one of my personal favourites, so I'd love to see it back at some point.
I'll take that as a resounding yes. With that in mind, Sarah, I think we should probably hear from the drivers themselves. I mean, they're going to have some interesting point of views on this one, aren't they? Now, did Fodder get a podium? No, he didn't, so I think Kirk is going to be safe at least for this one. But that said, Sarah, let's go to hear from the drivers, see what they have to say.
Yeah, let's do it.
Starting 9th, I knew it was going to be a struggle to overtake with the top speed of the GTR, but by end of lap 1, chaos happened in front of me. That gained me into P5, then on lap 2 got I Boaty before the long straight. Then lap 4 I got Nisbet at turn 3 after making a mistake at T1. Then on lap 6 I got Iceman on the brakes at the end of the long straight by out-braking them. On lap 7, Kirk got a 0.5 penalty that when he served I overtook. After that I built the gap and won the race. This was a good result for me after a run of 3 mere races by my standard.
Okay, so that was round 8 at Road Atlanta. A bit of a mixed round, I'd say. Starting with qualifying, I think maybe I couldn't have done a lot more than what I did. Well, I was actually gaining quite a lot of time in one of my runs, but then I just made a mistake that cost me maybe getting close to the top 3, within the top 3, but not much more than that. Just everyone around me was faster, and yeah, just to even be in that position was pretty decent. The sprint, I have to be happy with the P3 again, just getting another podium after Autopolis as well, so in back-to-back rounds. It felt really nice, even though there was always that feeling that possibly I could have got the win. I felt like I had the pace in the sprint for some reason to just get the win. Once again, just minor mistakes here and there that I really can't make when the quality in the field is this high, and where any slight mistake around this track can be quite costly. Just nothing else that I could have done, I don't think. And yeah, then the feature, I just can't really explain why I have no pace whatsoever. Just felt like I couldn't really fight for anything, which was a bit strange given how the sprint went. But yeah, moving on to the next round, hopefully I'll get some good results there to make up for it. And yeah, maybe there's a feeling as well, given the gaps with the drivers in front, I could have finished a bit higher as well, but yeah, just have to move on from this and yeah, reset, go on to the next one, hopefully pick up some good results, and I hope everyone else is looking forward to Grand Valley.
Hey everyone, Hawkey here, and I'm back yet again for another podium statement. Very happy about that, to be back. Obviously, the last time I was here was with the Tokyo round, so I wasn't expecting to get another podium so soon. But round 8 here at Road Atlanta. I love Road Atlanta, it's one of my favourite tracks in the game. I always seem to do quite well around here. I remember last season in the BMW I seemed to have quite a good round here at Road Atlanta, and I wasn't expecting the same in the Lamborghini, but I managed to have a quite good result around here again, so I'm very happy about that. Obviously, something about my driving style suits Road Atlanta, so I won't complain. But apart from that, my sprint race didn't go amazingly, so the less said about that, the better. We'll move on to the feature race. I qualified P7 on medium tyres. Went for the medium tyres just so I could get that a little bit longer into the race, as I know obviously the softs were only going to last a certain amount of laps. But I managed to make up 2 places on the start, getting past both Coach and Damo. And we all know how difficult it is to pass Coach, so I was kind of happy and glad to get past him as quick as I can and to defend that P5 and have a little battle with him. On lap 2, I went for an overtake on Lyle at the chicane and went on the inside, got it to P3. So happy to get onto the podium this early, but I knew there was a lot of work ahead to get a little bit further up on the road. But Phil made a bit of a mistake on lap 11 in the first sector, which promoted me into P2. But I then pitted at the end of lap 14 for another set of mediums. Again, I wanted to get that a little bit longer into the race before going on a different set of tyres. But I overtook Red as he was on a different strategy to me, and he was in the pits, so the undercut looked like it was going to work at this point. But Lyle and Gary were fighting for P3. Had a good little battle with them for a little bit. Both of them obviously put up a good fight, but I was trying to make my way back onto the podium. But I was leading the race for a short while before having to pit again for some fresh tyres and a little bit of fuel. And I was leading the race again with 7 laps to go. I came out of the pits in P3 on soft tyres, so I was eager to get those soft tyres to work for that last little stint. And obviously I was going to try my best to catch Red. But Red had a great strategy and he was on fire today with the pace. And a double win on his Nighthawk Racing debut is just obviously amazing. He was uncatchable, I'd say, today. Maybe another time, Red. But it was good, obviously, having a little bit of a battle of strategies, seeing obviously where I'd come out with Red. But yeah, he was just unbeatable today. But I was happy with my P2 and I managed to just about nab the fastest lap, so I'll take it. But yeah, good to be back on the podium. Hopefully, you never know, might get on the podium. Got 2 rounds left, so I'll try and get on the podium again. If not, I will see you next time. But thank you again everyone for the love and support on the videos, really does help us out. And yeah, catch you soon.
Going into my debut in the first championship, I had no expectations, really. I thought I was going to be in the red lobby, but I was told to be in the blue one. The sprint race went amazingly. I felt like I fought through. Definitely not. It wasn't easy by any means, but it was very fulfilling and satisfying. And the move I did to get the lead was also very gratifying. And then at the start of the feature, I got a really good getaway. I think I must have a better a PC. Sorry, not a PC. A monitor with less input lag than what other people use, because I just seem to always get much better starts than everyone else. And from there, I knew that I couldn't really just rest on my laurels and just assume that my pace would be alright. I really thought about strategy and had ran the mediums and hard compounds in practice to see how long they would run for, and I got the best strategy possible to take a win on my debut, which I'm extremely satisfied with.
chase. Gran Turismo sets the pace. Under moonlit skies we soar. Every cosmic spirit's roar. Defending honor never bore. Speeding kings on asphalt floors. Through the stadiums we fly by. Cheering crowds lighting the sky. Nighthawk warriors reaching high. No defeat will dignify. Nighthawk